it was kind of what I was expecting, but also not what I was expecting.
Okay, well, let's start there.
And I don't know how to explain that. I guess because, and like now thinking, like talking about South Park for a second there, it made me kind of think about this. Maybe I was more expecting campy or like grosser jokes. Well, more over the top jokes like basketball.
Okay.
But maybe that's what it is. So it was a lot drier, which is fine because I like dry humor. But it also was like, oh, you keep doing these things that make me feel icky. So it was like, ugh.
Okay.
And I, for some reason, also wasn't going into it thinking it was a comedy. I only realized it was a comedy when I was like, this is the one I'm supposed to watch, right? Because the cover art didn't make any sense to me. I was like, why is it that? And then, so I looked it up for a second. It says comedy. And I'm like, oh, it's a comedy. I didn't know what I was watching. All right? I didn't know what we were going to watch this time. Yes. I went into this entire season thinking I was going to go watch A League of Their Own. And then it was Major League. So.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Anyways.
It's quite the problem. But you did watch the right movie. About the Cleveland Indians.
Yes.
Okay. I want to make sure.
Yes.
You watched the right movie.
Don't do this to me, did I? It's supposed to be a comedy, right? Like I would.
Yeah. Okay. Charlie Sheen is in it.
Okay.
Okay. Wild Thing.
Wild Thing.
Okay.
Oh man.
Rachel, I was trying to find a good way to start the episode after your rant, but there really isn't.
They make it way more exciting than it is. Like, they do. They focus on each character, like, get revved up. And most of the time, it's very slow and drawn out. Because they can kind of go, yeah, we'll play with that slow part, because now you can get in the guy's head. You can, like, look at these characters, and this is happening, and it feels more like stuff is going on all the time.
The Simpsons quote, when Homer stops drinking, and he goes to a baseball game, and he goes, you know what? This game is pretty boring. And then the second, when they have Blurn's ball on Futurama, they go to that, and Fry goes, why did they put all this stuff in baseball? And they're like, Fry thinks about it and he goes, so they finally spiced it up a little bit, huh? We'll do that episode one day. Hello, I'm Kevin. Rachel took a sip the second I said, hello, I'm Kevin.
I didn't know you were starting.
Well, I mean, we did an intro.
And I'm Rachel.
There you go.
Sounds the same every time. So you could probably just, like, cut and paste from every single one. We could get AI
to do, like, 20% of the podcast. Like, by putting in the, hello, I'm Rachel, and I'm Kevin, or whatever. And then, or whatever other inane bullshit we usually spew.
It's great.
And this is Shelf Life, a podcast hosted by brother and sister team, where we are going through all things pop culture one at a time to determine whether or not that subject at hand belongs on your shelf, be it digital or physical. This being part of Volume 4, and we today, as I said, are going through something slightly different than or not slightly different. It's a different genre. We're going through a new genre.
Yeah.
Well, Rachel, I guess I should let you kick it off with what we're doing. So, Rachel, what is up for contention to the shelf today?
Today, we are going to, I was going to say the outfield or the infield. I don't know. That sounds kind of silly. But we're going to the baseball stadium for, for the 1989 Major League movie.
Yes. 1989's Major League. This is the first sports movie that we're doing, and it very much falls in line with the tropes of a sports movie, the underdog story sports movie, which is a subgenre of itself, in my opinion, right? the underdog sports stories, your bad
No,
news
you're right.
bears,
Yes.
your Rudies, your Major Leagues.
Yeah,
your
it's definitely an
Mighty
underdog
Ducks.
movie. You're right.
It is a subgenre.
It definitely is.
Like it has its own tropes and it has its own feelings and all that kind of stuff. Directed by David Ward, who also wrote it. David S. Ward wrote and directed this as a love letter to his beloved Cleveland Indians.
Well, there you go.
Who are no longer the Cleveland Indians, of course, because they eventually changed their name and their mascot. They are now the Cleveland Guardians.
Right.
I told Rachel. Yes.
Right. Yes. Which is a neat kind of name. You can kind of think of
You
it.
like Guardians?
Yeah, I think it's actually kind of neat. You can kind of think of them as like big tough guardians, you know, like not like Guardians of the Galaxy, but like guardians like of the location of like the castle type of deal. That's what I picture at least, you know. Big stone statues.
All right.
I don't know.
I think their symbol is just like the letter G. I don't even
kind of
think
boring.
it's like anything. Yeah. So Rachel, I have to ask you, because we always ask this question before we talk about the background of the walkthrough. What is your... I mean, you said it in the beginning here. You thought that when...
I kept getting mixed up with all the movies.
we were booking the card.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how we were like, how about Major League? But one of us said, oh, Major League could go here.
I think because I said like, oh, Major League would be different.
I don't know. I don't know which one of us had the idea.
Yeah.
But we put Major League on the card. And then before, like, we were scheduling the recordings.
Yep.
And Rachel was like I said something about like, you know, just a bit outside or something Major League related. And she was like, what? Wait, no, that's not what Major League is. Isn't that? And then she was like, oh, I thought we were doing a league of their own.
I don't know why. I don't know why I thought that.
Which this is clearly not.
Oh, it's very
their
not.
own.
It's very not. Yeah.
So, Rachel, what happens in Major League and what's your history with Major League?
I don't really know if I have a history. I feel like, okay.
Was this the first time you've seen it?
This might be the first time I've seen the entire thing.
Okay.
It's like a whole. I feel like I have seen that end scene before. That end sequence.
The end?
The game at the end felt familiar. The rest of the movie did not.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was probably my first full viewing of Major League. So this will be nice and interesting for you guys then. But Major League is about a bunch of misfit players, is I think how they put it in their description, coming together on a crappy baseball team to try and win the league. What do they call it?
The pennant.
The pennant. That's really what it's about, right?
Yep.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else to add to that.
I think that's right. I guess I would say it's about an owner trying to put together the worst team she can so that she can move the team, and the team trying to prove her wrong.
Right.
To win the whole thing.
Right.
They never say the World Series. They're
No.
never trying to win the World Series, but they're
Right.
trying to win the pennant.
Okay.
I guess.
Now I will admit I did get confused by that part. I didn't realize that's what she was talking about, and I had to rewind. And I had to go, wait. What is this? What is happening?
Wait, what did you think of I don't know. So you just couldn't tell what she was trying to do.
She was like trying to make them crappy. I thought she was just like, I'm going to do my own thing and I'm going to find the players that'll do well on this team. I don't know why I thought that. And then I went back and I was like, oh no, you were saying you actually don't want this and you wanted to make them really crappy. Okay, I understand now. For some reason in my head, I was just like, yeah, she's coming in. Everybody thinks she's going to do a really bad job. But she's like, but I'm going to find the underdogs. I'm going to find the right people to make this team good. That's not what it is. That's not what it's about.
No, that is not what it is about. It is quite not that.
It's quite not.
No, it is about an owner trying to sabotage the team,
Right.
much more than the other way around. I'll be upfront because who knows, we could have new listeners, and new listeners, welcome to the show. I am not a baseball fan. I do not like the sport of baseball for the most part. I've played in baseball fantasy leagues because of people at work that have asked me to. I will go to a game on occasion, but I'm not really a big baseball fan. Rachel, are you a baseball aficionado?
No. No, no. I I remember playing in like gym, and I remember going to a couple games. I remember being a young child and being bored. I've gone to a couple of like minor league baseball games before, and it's fine, but usually there's something else going on, or you're with people, so you're kind of chit-chatting. It's not usually my thing, so I don't really know a lot about it.
Think that with this particular movie, if you do know a lot about baseball or you're like a baseball player or whatever, I think there is stuff you can get out of it.
Okay.
Because it does seem to be one where the baseball is accurate enough.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of these sports movies. I mean, I know football better than baseball, but like, there's a lot of these sports movies where you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no way that like the way that this game is flowing would make any sense that way or whatever.
Sure.
This one seems pretty decently on point for that kind of thing.
It kind of does. Yeah, it does quite a few montages through like different games, or like through a
It's a sports movie.
game.
Sports movies always have a montage.
All the montages.
Rocky has a montage.
It's true.
Little Giants has a montage or
It's true.
two.
Montages, sports movies, hand in hand.
They go hand in hand. You gotta have a montage.
Montage.
Yeah, that's part of the gig. You thought it was going to be like basketball humor style too.
Well, because I looked it up quick, and then it said the word comedy, and I was like, it's a comedy? So I really didn't know what I was watching. And then so I was expecting really like just raunchy, bad, like over the top, trying to make everybody laugh jokes. Basketball I like. It's not baseball.
Basketball on the list, of course.
It's not like horse. I
said of course.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But excellent callback, or an excellent reference, I suppose. It's not like horse. I think that this movie takes itself decently seriously.
It does. And it has like that dry humor.
I think I have seen this movie before. I don't know when.
Sure.
I don't know in what capacity, but I know I've had to have seen this movie before.
Oh yeah, sure.
Probably one of those movies that you would just see like on cable all the time.
That's my guess. That's why I'm like, I feel like I've seen the like that end sequence before, and I was like, that feels familiar. I feel like I can like picture it on the TV at home. You know, it's just like on in the living room. I'm probably drawing or something, and it's just on.
So it makes it so it's like, okay, I know all these scenes. I know all these beats of like what's going to happen, but I don't know if I've seen them all in the same order at the same time. Like watching this back.
Right.
Or like watching this like this time. As I was saying earlier, the director of the movie, David S. Ward. So David Ward made this as a passion project. He grew up in a suburb of Cleveland, and he thought the only way that the Cleveland team was going to ever win at anything would be if he put it in a movie. So,
oh, that's kind of sad.
So he worked for a while to try to get this thing made, because this was like I said, it was like a passion project for him.
Mm-hmm.
He was mostly known more so as kind of a writer than a director. He wrote The Sting and a couple of other things. He ended up, did he win an Oscar for Sleepless in Seattle? I can't remember if he got or maybe nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which comes after this. But he got a studio to give him enough backing to be able to make this movie. I think it's a fairly small budget. I don't know what that like inflated dollars it would be, but like $7 million budget. that's how he was able to get this done, or why it is the way it is, why it's about Cleveland. For those that are not familiar with baseball or aren't familiar with, or 11 million, I'm going to say 7 million, $11 million budget. For those that are not familiar with Cleveland or the Cleveland baseball team or their sports history as a whole, it is true when they show it in the movie that like the Indians had not won anything since like 1948 or something like that. They still haven't won anything as of this recording. God. They got very close. Kind of funny. They got very close in 2016.
Okay.
They were up 3-1 on the Cubs in the World Series, which is past the point where this movie goes. They were a game away from winning the World Series, and the Cubs beat them 3 straight games, and the Cubs were able to get their curse taken care of. Whatever, I can't remember. Billy Goat curse, I think, is the Cubs curse. So Cleveland still...
Oh my God.
...has nothing.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and Cleveland's been that way. Cleveland, it's such an interesting city dynamic, because if you're like a sports fan, they always like Cleveland is always like one of these cities, like a Detroit, who like as of this recording, the Lions are doing very good. And then there's like the Pistons were good in the early 90s. Like Cleveland is always considered like one of these sports cities that just cannot win anything.
Oh my God.
The Cleveland Browns have never won a Super Bowl.
I was going to say that one I know.
The Cleveland Browns were very good way back in the day, and then they were very good for a little period of the 80s, but they never won a Super Bowl. I don't think they've been in a Super Bowl. The Cleveland Indians have had their problems. The Cleveland Cavaliers were terrible until LeBron James showed up. And then they ended up winning an NBA championship with LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
But before that and after that, they're just pathetic. And I feel like Cleveland, for some reason, has this, not nationalistic pride, but like local pride about it. There's probably other cities that would have somebody make a movie like this about their team. But for some reason, Cleveland feels unique, and I think it's because the media always kind of portrays it as like the, you know, it's the mistake by the lake. It's the, have you, Rachel, have you ever seen the video about the Factory of Sadness that is Cleveland?
I don't think I have.
Okay, let me show you this before I continue with. Yeah. So that's one of them. And then the other one that I've always enjoyed is the Cleveland tourism video.
All right.
So there you go.
You can tell it's 14 years old, considering.
Yeah. Yes, but the point of that, of showing that to you, is that for some reason Cleveland is one of those types of cities.
It's so weird.
Right? So it's
kind of true.
She said it, folks. That was Rachel saying that. They're a proud
AI,
people.
Rachel. He's lying.
Yeah, it was the AI. The AI came up with that. But my point of that being that, like, yes, the Cleveland spirit of, like, wanting your sports teams to be good is there, because there is this kind of, like, pride of, like, being an underdog city, I guess, is the idea.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So he starts putting this together. Most of this movie, though, shot in Milwaukee, because they couldn't get the schedule to work out with the Cleveland Stadium. So they actually shot most of the baseball diamond stuff is in Milwaukee, is the Brewers' old stadium in Milwaukee.
Funny. That's funny. That's kind of funny, actually.
They were able to film a lot of that spring training stuff that you get to see, the spring training sequences. That is in the real Arizona field that the Indians used to use. So they were able to do a lot of, like, they were able to do some stuff in the actual Cleveland Indians, like, area. Mm-hmm. Apparently a lot of the baseball scenes are really the actors doing it, too.
It seemed like it. Like, at least like some of the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's kind of neat. And I think that's why baseball kind of works, too. You can have the actors stand there and hit the ball.
Yeah, hit the
it's
ball.
It's a lot harder to have them get tackled and shit.
Yeah.
Or even do basketball and have the timing be right to get that, to all the work. Although we watched the Office episode where they play basketball, and that worked out just fine.
It's wonderful.
But then they used some film tricks to make it look like they were okay at playing.
Oh, I would imagine. I don't expect them to be actually able to throw the ball.
No.
I
Well,
assume
we'll get
it's
into
like
it.
wee, and then then they kind
Charlie
of trick
Sheen.
it.
Charlie Sheen
was he actually
he was a high school pitcher, and
okay. I was gonna say he does the leg thing.
His arm motion and everything looks real. Yes.
Right.
So he was actually pitching to the point where the director said they had to put him on. Like, I watched some of the behind the scenes, and like they said at some days they were having him throw like 120 pitches. They actually had to like rotate him out because like
his arm's
you had
gonna
to do so many
hurt.
takes. Yeah, I think at this point Charlie Sheen has admitted that he tried to speed up his fastball so that it would look better. Because like he said he could get it up to like 80.
Wow.
And then he got it to like 85 during filming because he was juicing. He was taking steroids.
Well, it's Charlie Sheen. He had a lot of issues. It's also the 80s, so I guess yeah.
Yeah, it's the 80s. Everybody was on steroids. One of the producers is like, people are always asking him about Charlie Sheen stories because he's such a whack job. And the producer was like, actually, Charlie, when it comes to the set, is like one of the most professional guys there is. Like, he's the one asking for everybody else to be professional. And then I think kind of fits. Like, that kind of fits what I've heard about Charlie Sheen, where it's like he takes the job very seriously.
Oh, sure.
It's off camera that he's a fucking wacko.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that pans out. I think that makes sense.
They made them go through a 2-week baseball academy, all of the actors, to
so they had like a
learn
hell week. Okay.
Yeah. And they brought in Steve Yeager, who was a real life pitcher, to make it look more authentic, to teach them how to hit and teach them how to field and all of that stuff. He's actually in the movie quite a bit as the pitcher when you see them hit, they're usually hitting against Steve Yeager.
Oh, okay.
Because he could always, he can always place it for them. So
right.
That
he can be a lot more precise with where he's throwing. That makes a lot of sense.
Wesley Snipes was then also brought on board. Particularly, he was an unknown at the time, and he was athletic, but he wasn't fast. If you notice, folks and Rachel, on a rewatch of this, most of the time you're watching Willie Mays Hayes run, it's in slow motion.
Yes.
So that he looks like he's going really fast. But there's all that kind of junk in there. And Corbin Burnson came along, and they got Tom Berenger. This is actually Rene Russo's first movie. My favorite character in the movie is Lou Brown, the manager.
Oh my god, his voice.
That voice is phenomenal.
I loved that. Yes. I was like, I'm going to say it too if you didn't bring it up. I'm like, his voice is just great.
It really is just this guy that just really, really is a fan of baseball. He loves the team that he roots for. He wants to make a movie about that team, and he does. and it becomes this, I don't know if I would even call it a cult hit, but it becomes something that has endured over the years by being a classic kind of baseball movie, whether that's in baseball circles or in other circles. But that's not the question. The question is, does it have shelf life? Rachel, anything else that you want to discuss before we hit the break?
You didn't say how much money it made. How much money did this one make in the box office then? Did we actually find that?
Yeah, I did.
Because I don't think you mentioned that or like how much I'm just curious.
According to Wikipedia, because I could not find it on a more reliable website, they got it from Variety. It made $75 million from the box office, and it was budgeted around 10 to 11 million.
Okay.
So made quite a bit of money.
So it did do well. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I mean, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to jump in and
I think anything that I could that we could think of. We will take a short break afterward from our fake sponsor, and when we come back, we will walk through Major League.
Hello, you know us. We're a Major League Baseball team. But since we haven't won a pennant in over 30 years, nobody recognizes us, not even in our own hometown.
That's why we carry the American Express card.
No matter how far out of first we are, it's cool. You know, it keeps us from getting shut out at our favorite hotels and restaurant-type places.
So you're looking for some big league clout. Apply for that little green home run heater.
Look what it's done for us. People still don't recognize us, but
we're contenders now.
The American Express card. Don't steal home without it.
And we're back! I was doing that.
Baseball
was my,
announcer?
That was
Yeah.
my Harry Doyle here with Indians baseball.
Yeah, a lot of
whatever.
Indian Native American jokes.
If you are not ready for the word Indian, then I mean that's what the team's name was.
I was
so
gonna say
what
that's
we're
the
gonna say.
team's name. This is more like documentary-ish. So when we say Indian, yes, we do mean Native American. Yes, they are going to make jokes about it. Yes, it's gross.
I guess we should say that. Yes. Do they make jokes about
I feel
Indian?
like kind of. They don't actually like come out and say like, "Oh, here's a joke about an Indian." It's more like their terminology and like the way that they go about talking
Okay.
about it.
I mean,
we'll talk
point
about it when
out,
we get
point
to
it out,
those
point it
things.
out.
I'll point it
But
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Let us
fair
begin.
warning, we're not making fun.
Yeah, just to say that, because like I don't care about trigger warnings or anything like that, but just to say like we're not
being
saying
an
it
asshole,
to be.
all right?
Yeah, we're saying it because that's the name of the team. It's not even the worst name of a team that was named after Native Americans.
It's true. It's true.
So,
Did they changed their name though too, didn't they?
yes.
Yeah. They should.
Yes. To a stupid
weird.
name. I've told you about this, right?
I don't understand
I'm putting
why
this
they
on record. I'm putting this on record. They should have been the Washington Pigskins.
That makes way more sense.
Because of what they were, and then pigskin is what the fucking football
It
is
sounds
called.
way cuter.
And they had the Hogettes.
Why?
Because their group of their super fans would always come dressed in dresses with pig noses.
But
the
that's like
Hogettes. I don't know why.
perfect.
Yeah. So why the hell weren't they called the Pigskins?
I don't understand. I don't know. Because they don't have us. I always think of this sometimes, where I'm just like, if you had me, this is how I would have done it.
Yeah.
And it would have been better.
You know how much merch they could have sold with pigskins instead of commanders?
How cute would that be? Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway, we're talking about the Indians here, the Cleveland Indians. The movie begins, we start with a Randy Newman song about Cleveland, and we get some beautiful picturesque shots of the city that looks like total shit. Because,
It is a
and
little
I think
drab.
that's on purpose.
Yeah, it's a little drab.
I think it's on purpose. I think it's supposed to look like this dirty, dirty cesspool of filth and garbage.
Oh, probably.
For our folks at home, if you are from Cleveland, we say this lovingly, of course. But I think Rachel side-eyed me when I said that. I think that they're trying to do that on purpose.
I could see that. I could see it being done on purpose. Especially since the guy, like, is a part of that. It's, like, his hometown and everything. It makes a lot of sense.
And the song that Randy Newman is singing is about the Chatta... Cuyahoga River.
Cuyahoga.
To the Cuyahoga River.
He does have that voice, though.
on,
He really does sing that way.
Burn on.
It's all in
Yeah.
his nose.
This
Back
song...
of the throat, all in the nose.
This song, Rachel...
Yeah.
Typically, Randy Newman has all these songs about cities, right? Like, I love LA, which will be in another semi-baseball movie that we do with Naked Gun. And he has songs about all these cities. This is Cleveland's song, and it's called Burn On because the Cuyahoga River, which is the river, like the river walk of Cleveland, set on fire in 1969 because of how polluted it was. So that that joke about our river literally caught on fire, that's not a lie. It actually caught on fire.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I say that I think that the shots of the city are not supposed to look like picturesque, I think that is true. I think it's supposed to look filthy and drab and gross.
I believe you. I believe you.
To the point where there's people playing at a baseball diamond next to some factory.
Right.
When it comes up and it says Major League, and you get the title screen of Major League.
Yes.
There as well. Now, Rachel, I do have a question for you. Now that you know that the song that's being sung is about Cleveland, do you prefer this song about Cleveland, or do you prefer any of the songs from the Drew Carey show.
Oh no!
about
I
Cleveland.
instantly, the second you asked me this question, that is the first song that came to mind was "Cleveland Rocks."
I love that
That is
song.
fantastic.
Yes.
Ohio. All right, now that one gets you pumped, man.
With safety, make go
Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks.
That
Yes.
song fucking rules.
Yeah. Yeah. Those get me more pumped about Cleveland than this one, I think.
City of white, city of failures, or whatever he says. Hang on, now I gotta look up the words.
We're never gonna get out of this opening sequence.
the
We're
red
sitting here,
moon
Kevin. This
arising.
damn movie.
On the Cuyahoga River, burn on, big river, burn on. Okay, I'll stop. All right, here we go. So that's, I have to cut like 3 minutes of that. So that happens. The montage goes on forever.
Yes,
And
because
you
now they're
go
going
in-
through like the newspapers.
Yes, it gives you a montage starting from the 1948 Indians, which won the World Series, or just the American League. I can't remember. But the 1948
World
was the last time that-
champions is what it says.
Yeah, okay, so World Series. So that was the last time that they won a championship. And it does a bunch of different newspapers for bad seasons from the Indians. Of
Yes.
blow-ups that they had, or championships that they lost.
Right.
Or at this point, when you get to, by the time you get to 1989, you're talking about how they haven't won in years, and they've been in the dumps, and they've been in like the dregs of Major League Baseball. Mm-hmm. And in 1989, it's showing you that their billionaire owner has died, and the team has been inherited by his showgirl wife, who now controls the team.
Was it his ex-wife or just the wife?
His wife.
Okay. For some reason, she had like ex-wife like vibes going on, but maybe it is just a wife.
I could see that. I think you're supposed to interpret that she married him out of money.
Yeah, well, exactly.
And
yeah,
and does not want to be in Cleveland anymore. So she's trying to
Right.
get out of Cleveland. Finally, we go to the Indians Stadium. Chief Wahoo, Rachel, and all his racist glory.
Yep.
For
He
those
does have
that
a
are
big,
not in the
cute
know.
grin. I mean, that's fine.
It's a cute grin. It's
Yeah.
very caricature.
Oh, it's very caricature.
It's straight out of a Bugs Bunny
Extreme.
cartoon from the 40s.
Absolutely.
I don't remember all of the history about Chief Wahoo. I think there's a 30 for 30 documentary about it.
Oh, is there? Okay. I could imagine that there'd be a lot of documentaries about it now.
I think I'm going to probably get this wrong.
Okay.
And folks at home, correct me if I'm wrong about this. It's supposed to be, according to the people that will tell you, like, Cleveland Indian was fine to keep, was because the Indians at some point in, like, the 30s or something like that, or even before that, one of the players on the team was Native American. And Chief Wahoo and the Indian's name is supposed to be named after him.
Oh. That's interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
if he was like, yeah, I love this, like, depiction of me. This is fun, and I like it, but...
It
you
used
never
to be
know.
a little more...
Oh.
Yeah. In 1932, the Cleveland
You never know these
newspaper, The
things.
Plain
And then
Dealer,
stuff comes out, and you're just like,
featured a cartoon that used a caricatured Native American character with a resemblance to Chief Wahoo that was a stand-in for the Cleveland Indians winning an important victory. The character came to be known as the Little Indian, eventually becoming a fixture in the paper's coverage of the team, including a small front-page visual box where his head would peek out to announce the outcome of the latest game. In 1947, they hired a design company who made it into a patch. So, nothing on this about who could have been Chief Wahoo. Oh, here we go. This might have been him. Allie Reynolds pitched for the Indians for 5 years beginning in 1942. And then he got traded to the Yankees. In 1950, the Plain Dealer, under the title of Chief Wahoo Whizzing, stated Allie Reynolds, the copper-skinned Creek, and then Chief Wahoo, and then all that stuff. So then I don't know if that holds up to scrutiny based on, like, the timeline here.
sure.
But that's what they will tell you it is. Now, clearly it's just, it was a caricature that they made for the baseball team.
Oh, yeah,
and it
absolutely.
Kind of stuck. We go into the boardroom for the Indians here, and Rachel Phelps.
Yeah, not me, Rachel.
No, this is who you base your stage name off of, though. It's where you got the Rachel.
Oh yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, this is where I would take the Rachel from. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exactly.
So she's in there. She's in there with a bunch of yes men that are, I don't know if they're like other parts of the team. They're scouts. They're different board members or something or whatever. But they're like, or other owners. They could be minority owners or something. But they're just other yes men that she's like got underneath her now. And she said, and I like where she's like, "Welcome to another year of Indians baseball," and they all like do like a little like applause. She's got a little dog with her.
She does, of course.
So that you know that she's rich, because all rich antagonistic women always carry around a small dog with them.
Right, exactly. Little pompous little dog with a pompous woman. It all makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, you know that dog is a pompous little son of a bitch.
Keeps its nose up at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's eating better than I am, I'll tell you that much.
Well, she says, that if she has to, she's going to have to give him actual dog food. And it's like, that's just not okay.
She promises to make history at the end of the season. She opens up an article from the press and she says that the press is saying that Vegas showgirl wife has no business as owner of the baseball team. So she's all pissed off about this and she wants to prove them wrong. And she's like, well, we've been so bad for so long. It's time for some changes around here.
Yes.
So she gives out, and around the table, she gives a list of all of the players that she is inviting to spring training this year. And all of the guys are looking at it and they all think it's terrible.
It's such a weird list of people. They're either terrible, they're like new and like nobodies, or they're old and past their prime.
But she's like, well, we have to do something different because, like, if we just keep doing what we've been doing, we're going to suck anyway, so we have to try something new.
Yes. I did like the joke of where the one guy goes, this guy's dead. And she goes, then cross him off the list. Like,
yeah.
Oh, well. I did like that joke. I thought that was funny.
That's a good one. Across Cleveland, talking about how much the team stinks. And they do this, they come back to it a few times. Rachel, I figured that you recognize the one guy, because it's the janitor from Scrubs. Is there?
Yes. He's working, he's like a construction worker.
He's working construction, yeah.
Yeah, I do recognize him.
We come back to the owner's box, or the owner's suite, or whatever, and Rachel Phelps is talking with Charlie. Charlie is the new manager for the team, or the general manager for the team. He's supposed to be kind of in charge of putting the players together and putting the team together, finding a manager or a coach, what have you. Charlie asks, he's like, I'm not quite sure on the vision of everything here. If I'm the general manager, like, who are we bringing in for the manager? I got the vibe that Charlie thought he was going to come in to coach the team, and then she was like, no, Charlie, I want you to be the general manager.
Yes. I think that's the idea, too. I think that's what he thought. Mm-hmm.
And she says that that they're gonna bring in Lou Brown.
Right.
Lou Brown to be the manager. And
he sounds like
Charlie's.
Scruffy.
Yeah, that was a little too scruffy.
Thinking of Futurama.
I don't know if I can do a Lou Brown without it being scruffy.
I think you'd hurt your throat. I don't think you should try.
I think I need to, as I think they described it on We Hate Movies once, of having to gargle with rocks to be able to make that
scruffy voice. Yes,
he's been the manager of the Toledo Mud Hens for 30 years, and I do like the idea that she
did her research, honestly.
So I have to ask you this when
Okay.
it comes to this, and when it comes to all of these players. Because I figured you were going to ask this throughout the movie, Rachel, and we might as well just talk about it now.
Yes.
At different parts in this movie, whether the team is doing bad or good, I was wondering if you were going to ask, why doesn't she just fire them and bring in somebody else?
Question. It is a good question. Because she could easily do that.
So I wondered, is it supposed to be that she underestimates them based on their history, and that's why that's her falling, is like this hubris of like bringing in. I think that's what it is. Mostly. So like bringing in somebody, and I think
she doesn't want to out herself, because if she starts just like firing people and then bringing crappier
then it's making it
ones,
obvious.
What are you doing?
The city could find it liable?
I think they could, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Because the other thing I was thinking is, like, is it in there? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because the other thing I was thinking was, is it just that she thinks, like oh, he's been at the Toledo Mud Hens for 30 years, so he must not be good. When in reality, it seems like he was just content.
Yeah, I think he was just content with
so
what
he
was doing.
So he did not care. So, like, because he's actually a very good manager.
Right.
No matter at any point during this movie, do you ever think that he was ever washed up? He just never moved up.
He doesn't feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So Charlie asks her, well, what is the concept here? Like, what are you bringing this in? And she admits to him what the concept is, that she wants to relocate the team to Miami.
Yes.
She doesn't like Cleveland. The stadium is falling apart. They don't draw. The weather sucks. And she cannot stand being there.
Sure.
So she's like, wants out of this. Miami is offered to build a new stadium. She can build a mansion in Boca Raton or Palm Beach. And Charlie's like, the league is not going to let you just up and move the team. And she says, well, hold on a second.
Oh, yes.
According to the lease with the city, if attendance falls below 800,000, they can break the lease.
Right.
And how do you make attendance low? By sucking.
Right.
So they're going to try to finish
a
that
crappy
last.
team. Nobody's going to want to come watch them. Easy.
Now, Rachel, this is clearly a very villainous plan.
Right.
That no owner in real life would ever try to do to a city filled with beloved players and fans. Clearly.
You sound like you want to tell me something, Kevin.
So,
Who are we
so
talking about?
Well, in modern times, we are talking about the Oakland Athletics, which did this exact fucking plot.
Oh my god.
Literally last, like, a year or two ago.
No. Literally saw
so-
Major League and went, I can do that.
I got a hell of an idea.
I love an idea.
We can make a lot more money in Las Vegas.
Whew. Interesting. What team, like, what type of sport is it?
Baseball.
Oh, it was baseball. Oh, they
It was
literally
baseball.
just went,
They
Major
literally
League.
just did
We're going to
this.
Major League this, which is stupid.
The stadium is bad. In Oakland, the Oakland County Coliseum is a piece of shit, and they need a new stadium. They didn't want to pay for the new stadium. Oakland wasn't going to pitch in as much. Vegas was going to. So the owner of the Oakland Athletics decided to get the worst possible fucking team he could.
Wow.
And
I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked. Because this is such a dramatic, like, over-the-top villainous thing to do that, like, yeah, this would never happen. Like, people don't do this kind of crap. They're going to just find other ways to weasel out of it. No.
very
No.
recently,
That's insane.
it has happened.
That is absolutely
And
insane.
That's not what this is based off of, obviously, because this is 30 years old or 35 years old or whatever.
Yeah. Wait, was there another one?
Yeah, there's one that it's more based off of.
Oh my god. Okay, now I'm, like, really surprised.
And it was either the 70s or it was the 80s. Again with baseball. The Minnesota Twins owner tried to do this exact same thing, where he was trying to move the team to Florida. He wanted to get out of the Twins contract, so he started making a shittier and shittier and shittier team. People caught on.
Yeah.
And they actually didn't finish in first, but they definitely didn't finish in last. And the owner ended up selling the team. And then the new owners kept it in Minnesota because they're still there today as of this recording.
That's
But
insane.
that's what that's based off of. Yeah.
These people. We got your villainous plots. We know what you're doing.
So yes, this is something that could actually happen because it did happen. I just think that it's interesting because you see this and you're like, oh my god, the owners actually do this. This is a warning to anyone that likes sports, by the way.
Yeah.
You
Sadly.
don't own the team.
Right.
The team isn't yours.
You
The
think
team
you own
belongs to some billionaire.
it. Right.
And that billionaire doesn't give a flying fuck about anything except the bottom line and their own ego.
Yeah.
So you cannot care about these teams. Don't do it. You will put yourself through
Make you
agony.
so sad.
For the love of God. So anyway, we go to Mexico, where Charlie is gathering all of these players, and the first one that he gathers is Jake Taylor, played by Tom Berenger. And Rachel, you've seen Tom Berenger in stuff.
The face is I don't know what though.
Yeah, just like random crap, I think.
It's gotta
over
be.
the years. He's kind of more like character actor-esque in like stuff. He's in a lot of like bad movies now. He'll show up every once in a while on different things.
Okay.
His story, I can't remember if him or Charlie Sheen told the story where it must have been, I think it was Tom Berenger, where they both got the scripts and they both had worked on Platoon together.
Okay.
They were both in Platoon. He called Charlie and was like, "What do you think?" And Charlie was all like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it. It's a baseball movie and it's..." And he's like, and it seems like lighthearted. And so then they were like, okay, I'm in too. And then Charlie was saying like, it was fun because Platoon is it's a war movie. So
Right.
it's so much more. He was like, now we got to like have fun, like playing baseball.
It was a bit
with
more
each other.
dramatic with war, and then it's like, well, this is just baseball, so we can have fun
Yeah.
playing baseball.
Yeah. Taylor answers a call from like a hungover stupor on this bed.
Yes.
There's like some woman on the bed.
Was there? Yeah, I think it's
There was a
just
chicken
one
in the
woman, right?
room. I think it's just one woman.
It's just the way that they're splayed out. At first, I thought there was multiples, but it's just one woman. Yeah, there's like a chicken. He's got like a sombrero on. It's very.
I feel
very
like
silly.
If you were to remake this movie, this feels like a very Vince Vaughn-ish type character or something like that. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I could.
Like,
I
could see that.
I could see
being-
that.
Yeah. Kind of, I guess, because it reminds me of like the beginning of like Dodgeball, where it's like this like loser kind of thing.
It's
but...
kind of like, well, he's also, well, he's got like a woman and stuff too. He just seems kind of like this carefree kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like he's like, yeah,
Who knows he's like
like,
washed
who
up,
cares?
but yeah. A Ric Flair type of
Ric
character.
Flair. Woo.
Yeah. Yes, woo, Rachel, woo.
Woo.
Charlie calls him, asking him if he wants to. He's being invited to the Indians camp, and Jake is like, "My knees are killing me, and if you were gonna call and you were going to prank me, at least you could have said you were from the Yankees." And he hangs up on him.
Yeah.
And then Charlie calls Lou Brown, who's managing a Tire World. That's
Yes.
like his real job. His like
By day,
his, like,
Tire World. By night, baseball.
My day job, I'm a Tire World manager, and by night, I'm a baseball manager. And he asks...
He does have a
asks-
fantastic voice.
It
He's
is
got
a
that full-ass
marvelous
mustache.
voice.
He's got that gravelly voice.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. The casting in this movie is very good in general, but the casting of this character...
That's great.
Pitch perfect. This and Bob Uecker as the announcer are fantastic.
Of course.
Charlie asks him if he wants to manage the Indians, and I love Lou's reaction, which is, gee, I don't know.
Tire World.
Oh, Lou, this is Charlie Donovan with the Cleveland Indians.
How would you like to manage the Indians this year?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? This is a chance to manage in the big leagues.
Let me think it over, will you, Charlie? I got a guy on the other line about some white walls. I'll talk to you later.
And Charlie's just like, you don't know? What do you mean you don't know? I just love the idea that you can interpret it two ways.
Yes.
This is the type of guy. Again, if you were to remake this, you're putting Ron Swanson in this role, right?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh. If you think about it in two different ways, it's either one, he is such a carefree guy that he's like, I don't care about, like, I gotta leave Tire World to go manage the
it's like,
Indians.
I got stuff to do.
or it's the other way you could interpret it, which is the Indians are so terrible.
Yes.
That I don't want anything to do with them.
Right. Like, do I really want to go manage them? Like,
Yeah.
ugh.
In either way, it's a pretty good. It's
Could
a
be
good
both.
response. Yeah.
Could be both.
Charlie Sheen as Ricky Vaughn. He is clearly in jail. And
Yes, he is.
they're asking him,
I do like. Yeah, it's gonna be on March 1st. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna make it out by then. Like,
yeah. He's not sure if he'll get out.
I thought that was a good one because he didn't really want to say, "Yeah, I'm in jail right now." Like,
Right. We cut to the training camp in Arizona to see all of the crew assembled. Jake shows up in his crappy car. Charlie wearing a very spiffy suit, looking like he's gonna sing barbershop quartet at any moment here in his pinstripes. We find out that Jake Taylor was an all-star when he was in Boston, but he had problems with his knees.
Right.
And he ended up getting busted all the way down to the minors and then ended up in Mexico. They said, "Wait, I wish we had him 2 years ago." And they're like, "We did." And then they go, "Well, 4 years ago then."
Just keep going back.
Pedro Serrano shows up. Pedro Serrano, who is played by Dennis Haysbert, who, Rachel, I kept trying to figure out, is this the guy from the Allstate commercials? And then I think it is.
What?
You know, you're in good hands with Allstate. Like the big guy that like does those.
Is it the same voice? I think you're right.
Yeah. So that's
It
where you know
is.
him from.
No. Oh my god, I did not recognize him.
But he
That's
is
funny.
this big imposed. Well, it's been 35 years.
That's
so
also
obviously
very true.
he's
Yes, his face
much
filled out a little
older.
bit. That's why I think like I don't like recognize him. His face filled out a little bit more. Oh, that's so nuts. Because now I look at him and go, yeah, that's him.
Yeah. He's playing this big power hitting slugger from Cuba. The name of that character is even perfect. Like Pedro Serrano just sounds like a baseball player, doesn't it?
It sounds like a baseball player.
Like,
100% sounds like a baseball player.
I feel like there's got to be a time where the guys put together this team in like one of those baseball, like Ken Griffey Jr. baseball, where like you could create players or something like that. Like there has to have been a game where like we put together the major league team
Oh, yeah.
of like all these players.
I could see that.
So he's a huge Cuban. All of these players also, David Ward has said, are based on real life players because he knows
like
he
an
just knows so much
exaggeration,
about baseball.
I would assume.
Yeah, exactly. He wanted religious freedom, which is why he left Cuba. And they asked, well, what religion was it?
Voodoo. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is a
voodoo.
real religion.
It is a real
you.
religion. There's a lot of
very,
jokes about voodoo in this.
very much so with
making
this
it very,
character.
very comical. I guess there's some jokes about Christianity too to like even it out.
Oh, yeah, true. You got the other guy who is like more Christian than yeah. But that guy's like super intimidating.
Yes, because
He comes in
this big,
super
huge
intimidating.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Dorn comes. He's their high-priced player. He's got
He
his
looks like a douche.
played by Corbin Burnson,
Yes.
who's been in a
Psych
ton of
Stab.
stuff. Psych. Yes. Yes, that is where Rachel knows him best.
That's where I know
Psych
him best.
Stab.
Yes.
But he clearly is one of the most expensive players. He is the most expensive player on the
Right.
team.
He's like a
And-
prep though. He's got like the preppy outfit, the preppy car. He's got his golf clubs with him.
Well, because they're in Arizona, he's going to go golfing.
I'm just
in the
saying.
off time. He's a 1980s yuppie, I believe, is how you would describe him.
All right.
And he is only in it to make money. That's like the only thing that he cares about.
It does feel that way. Yeah. Yeah.
Lou says, "I thought you said you didn't have any high-priced talent." And Charlie says, "Well, that's only because Dorn's high-priced," which means that
Right.
he
Not
doesn't see him
talent.
as being a good talent.
Just high priced.
Yeah. And Lou says, "I thought he's really good at hitting." And they're like, "He is. He just can't field the ball worth a shit."
Sure.
And then, in some, like, busted-up car, comes
So silly.
Willie Mays Hayes. And I could not... Can you imagine, like, a decade later, this guy's playing Blade?
Oh
and
my
here
God.
he is as Willie Mays Hayes.
It is kind of funny. It's a very silly character. This man is confident. He comes in very confident. Is like, I'm gonna be your man. This is it. I'm here. He drives just straight into like the field area. Like
Yes.
not onto the field, but like by the bleachers. You're not supposed to drive in there.
No, clearly not.
But he's almost used carsman, like salesman, like about himself, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, like I said, very confident. I don't know how else to describe him.
No, that is the way to describe it. He's very optimistic.
Very optimistic, confident, just like ready to go. He's
Yeah.
just like, yes. And he wasn't invited.
And he wasn't invited. Yeah, I like he's almost kind of like a puppy in like the way that he...
He's a little lab puppy. Like that's what I kind of picture. Yes.
Brown is intrigued by him, so even though he doesn't he's not on the list. He's like kind of allowing him to go along with
He's
this.
like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. And then Ricky Vaughn is dropped off by some dude on a motorcycle. He's got his stuff in a garbage bag. And Lou's assistant manager just goes, look at this fucking guy.
Yep, I think that describes Charlie Sheen in this to a T.
Do you think anybody has that haircut? I'm sure in the early 90s people were doing
You
that
know
to
what? I have a
impersonate.
feeling now, I bet it's back in. I
You
bet
think
it's
it's back
back in because everything from then is like in now again. So 100% there's got to be some Gen Zer with the fuzzy hair and the shaved sides in the back. Yeah.
Folks at home, if you know anyone with that haircut, please send their photo to Shelf Life at shelflifethepodcast@gmail.com. I want to see it.
He's got a very grunge look though, so I don't know. That might not be quite.
You don't think they also have a big dangly earring?
This crazy dangling earring that looks like it looks like a clip-on earring, and it's like clipped onto like the side and like up on top of his ear. It's ridiculous.
I like when Lou, after like all of these guys have entered, Lou just goes, "It's my kind of team, Charlie. It's my kind of team." Like he's all ready to like coach
ragtag.
this team.
Yeah. He's down with the underdogs. Let's go.
We go into the locker room or the bunk area. Now
This is weird to me.
I don't know a lot about like how locker rooms or like spring training would have gone on in the 80s. I don't think it was like barracks, like the fucking army.
That's what it looks like.
Now it could not be. Like these people.
No, they probably
make
have them in like a hotel.
hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, there's no way that they do this. But then I think about football, and even just like a decade ago, because Dad and I went to a couple of different like not spring trainings, but summer camps that the football teams would do.
Yeah.
To go like watch them practice and stuff.
Right.
And a couple of them were done at like colleges or done at like places where you assume that the guys were sleeping in like dorm rooms, but that's a dorm room.
It's still like a room.
Maybe you have a roommate.
Right.
This is like bunks like you're in the army.
Yeah, these are like metal bunks with the really crappy mattress. Like, you know, it's gotta hurt your back kind of mattress. Like, it's like that sounds like a spring.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and they're just like lined up. There's your bed. Pick a bed. Okay.
Yeah. I would like to know if this is like a real thing or not. Harris, we get introduced to, who is like the old veteran starting pitcher on the team, is kind of like he's like that Southern baseball player type guy.
Yeah, that is the voice he kind of does. He's got the big belt buckle and everything. So
oh yeah,
I would imagine Southern.
Oh no, he's got like a Southern accent.
That too. I'm just saying, like big belt buckle, like Southern. Like
Southern, yeah.
Yeah.
And clearly like older, like a aging pitcher, like past his prime, like way past his prime. And we end up finding out later, like he takes every trick and shortcut he can.
Yes, he does.
When he pitches.
Exactly.
Harris and Dorn know each other, so I assume that these two were both on the team last year as well. And then Dorn, because he thinks he's hot shit and like is, you know, the quote unquote like leader or whatever, because he's the veteran, taunts Ricky a bit. Taunts his haircut and then taunts his earring. I think does he call him Veg Head? I didn't write it down.
Vegematic?
Yeah, Vegematic.
I don't know what that means.
Oh my god.
Veg Head?
Oh, Rachel.
I don't know what that
Rachel.
means.
Well, he's calling him Veg Head because I think he's saying that it looks like you got your hair cut by a Vegematic. Is that right?
Oh. Okay.
So a Vegematic.
Like a dicer. Yeah.
Like a dicer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. I didn't understand why. I don't know what
you know
meant
what?
like that.
That's fine. Ricky walks over near Taylor, who is getting his stuff set up. They introduce each other, and then Willie comes over to say hi. So you got your three main protagonists here between Jake Taylor, Ricky Vaughn, and Willie Mays Hayes. Hayes asks Ricky what league he's been playing in, and Vaughn's response is California Penal.
Oh. Right, yes.
And he goes, how'd you end up playing there? And he goes, stole a car. I think Hayes did not realize that he was talking about like he was in jail.
Right.
At the same time, then Serrano walks over to by Dorn and like picks up one of the clubs and is like, "Oh, hey, big guy, like you play golf?" So Haysbert, who they said was doing his best to get the accent down, like that was like his goal, was like sound authentically Cuban.
Sure.
He says hats for bats. Keeps bats war. and just takes one of the golf club covers off and is like, "Hey man, you can't just take all right," and just like walks off with one of the club covers.
Which I'm wondering, because I noticed him like looking at him in the background when he was like being rude to Ricky. Like the guy was being a jerk, right? He was like making fun of him and telling him about his haircut, and he's kind of in the background like watching. I'm wondering if that's why he comes over and is like, "No, I'm gonna fuck with this guy," and then like takes it for his bat.
I'd like to think a little bit.
I'm tougher. Knock it off.
I'd like to think that a little bit. I mean, that's a nice interpretation of it, Rachel. I think it's supposed to be just like, look at this Cuban guy that's like into voodoo and he's into this stuff. Is he silly? Like, I think that's all it's supposed to be.
What it is.
Because like throughout the thing, he's talking about like, I have to wake up the bats and things like that.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that's not like he's like putting this on for the other guy.
Oh, but you're just saying like, I'm gonna go take this from him.
I'm gonna go like tell him. Okay. He can't do this to me, he shouldn't be like this because we're a team. I like it. You know, gotta put him in his place. Yeah.
During the night, security comes in and removes Willie.
Who told them to go get him?
To be there.
But who said to?
Charlie. I think Charlie did, because Charlie's like he's not on the list.
The general manager.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Willie apparently sleeps very well on this bed, Rachel, to your shock.
Well, yeah, it's
because
so
he does
thin.
not wake up.
It's just so thin. He doesn't wake up, and they put him like right where they're gonna play, and they've been playing for like a good half hour. They've been doing this stuff for a good half hour.
I mean, I guess it's outside. It's like outside of the gates, so like they just like drop him off outside the gates. Yeah,
right.
He slept outside in like the Arizona desert. Yeah. A March morning in Arizona, you'd think would be cool-ish.
It'd be like cooler at night because it's a desert.
Yeah.
You know? So you'd feel like you'd feel it. Mm-hmm. You'd know. But anyway, so the guys are doing these like races, like I guess like some drills, like running up the field.
Doing wind sprints.
Is that what they're called? I was trying to understand.
Right?
I don't know.
They're doing like 40-yard dashes. They're timing the guys' speed, right?
And they're having two of them go up against each other at the same time.
to make it a little competition of it or whatever.
Right.
And it makes sense to do because you need to be fast to make it on base in time. So of course you need to like make sure that you have fast people here.
Right.
It's sports.
It's sports.
Sports.
Gotta be fast for sports.
It's not sports entertainment. It is sports.
That's right.
It's very different.
Yes.
Although this is technically sports entertainment, if you think about it.
You're not wrong, but yeah.
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 I'm never wrong.
You're never wrong, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, they're doing this, and Willie wakes up in bed outside the stadium. And
he has a good line.
I did like, yeah. This one's pretty good. Shit, I've been cut already? Thought that was pretty funny.
Right. Because he's like, oh, this is normal. To take me out in the bed in the middle of the night.
He runs past the two guys while in his pajamas.
Oh, yeah. In barefoot, mind you.
And barefoot, mind you.
I had to let you know this.
So Lou says, get him a uniform. They're doing different drills. They're doing different practices because they're just doing spring training stuff. Brown wants Jake to lead the team on the field because he's the catcher, and I guess catchers are a lot of times they're the leaders of the team.
I guess because they're always yelling out to the...
They are the ones directing everything on the diamond. Yeah, so that makes sense. And he goes, how are those knees holding up? And Jake says, they're fine, they're great.
I mean, look, the man has to sit in a squat. That is tough on your knees. That is actually very understandable to be sitting there going, I know you have bad knees, and now you're squatting. How you doing?
Yeah. It's such an unnatural position to have to be in. I think that a lot of Major League pitchers have knee problems.
Oh,
because
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's not a normal thing to sit there like that. And Lou says that the first thing he has to, if he wants to make this team, he better stop lying about his knees. Oh, actually, what he says is, the phrases that is used is, he says, stop lying about your knees. And Jake says, would I bullshit you about something like that? And he goes, you better if you want to make this team.
Yes.
So he's basically saying, like, you better lie about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
and
like
be good.
the way
Like,
that he
be
phrases
good
it.
at it. Like, you better be good at bullshitting about it.
Yes. Willie goes to batting practice, and
He's
he keeps
so
hitting
excited.
pop-up after pop-up.
He's so excited, though. Like,
He has this weird stance. He, like, does this little shimmy.
yeah, he's like
before.
stretching out his shoulders, like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna bat, like. And he sucks. Yeah, it keeps popping up within the cage with him. Like, it just keeps hitting the top. It's great.
So I guess they said he really was hitting pop-ups, and they were like, it's actually kind of skillful for him as an actor, like Wesley Snipes, to keep hitting pop-ups, to, like, be able to do that time and time again.
Sure.
Because you have to have some control over where it's going. And Lou tells him that he should be hitting it on the ground and outrunning people to first base. So even if he hits little choppers...
Yes.
He might be able to just make it, like, little infield hits. So
Right.
he shouldn't be trying to hit home runs.
Because that's not his, like,
Yeah, that's not
focus.
That's not his strength.
Yes.
Which again, shows you that.
Yes. It shows that he's actually a good coach. He's like,
He's
look,
a
I know
really
your
good
I know your
coach."
strength. This is your
Yeah.
strength. This is how we're gonna go work with it.
Right.
It's fantastic.
Or every time he hits it up in the air, he owes him push-ups.
Yep.
And he pops up and he immediately starts doing the push-ups.
I mean, they listen to him too,
Yeah.
which is great.
Vaughn won't wear a cap or sleeves. He gets told he
It's
best wear a
so
cap and
sad.
sleeves.
Did he cut these off? Was
Yes,
he like?
it
given
looks like
it
he
and
cut his sleeves off.
because it's so
Yeah.
silly looking.
So Lou Brown and Pepper, I think Pepper is the name of the assistant manager, are standing at the home plate, and they say, okay, Vaughn, let's see what you got. And Ricky Vaughn throws this high heater, like, over everyone's head and, like, hits this, like,
Between the
sign.
two and
Yeah.
over the other one, so like right in the middle of them.
Yeah, breaks the
slams
board.
into that sign, breaks
Yeah.
it, and the guy who's like measuring how fast it's going, like just
Yeah.
jumps down, like, oh god,
As the radar gun, jumps
Yes.
down. and I love that Lou and Pepper don't budge. They just stand there staring.
Yes.
And Pepper goes like, nice velocity. And then Lou goes, sounded like it.
right?
And Jake goes, Jesus. So it's you know how I like the good Jesus exclamations
Jesus.
in movies?
Yes.
It's a pretty good one.
There's
It's not as good as The Outsiders, see the back catalog, but it's pretty good.
but this is the humor I like. This is the part that I think is
right,
funny.
because it's that dry,
It's very dry. It's very just kind of sits there and it happens. You know?
Yes.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they just comment on it. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, so it's a very good
It's
pro
insane.
speed. Dorn won't get out in front of the ball. Don't give me this Olay bullshit. Get in front of the ball. So Dorn won't get in front of the ball because he doesn't want to get hurt by like taking one in the eye or taking one where he would get injured, because he's going to be a free agent, and if he wants to make money, he doesn't want to get hurt.
Right.
So again, all he cares about is the bottom line.
Yeah, he's like
So
the only
Brown-
one who back talks too.
Well, because he
Because-
thinks he's the star.
Yeah, because
The rest of them are like know nothing.
sure. But this is another one where he's like, and if you do it again, you have to give me sit-ups. It's not really a punishment. It's more like, well, it is a punishment. It's like, if you have to do this, you're going to do this thing that's going to start to hurt after a while. But it's also going to make you stronger. You know?
Well, that's a coach. That's what
Yeah,
coaches do.
I'm just
Give me
saying.
push-ups and
It's like a double edge on that one. It's a good double edge, though. It's a good punishment because it also makes you stronger. In my opinion.
And then you got Serrano, who is hitting home runs off of fastballs, and they wonder why he isn't on a different team. So the one coach is like, okay, like throw him some breaking balls or throw him some curveballs, and he cannot hit them.
Yes.
So Serrano's problem is he cannot tell when to hit the curve.
Right.
There's trouble with the curveball. Dorn shows Lou his contract. This is to your point, Rachel.
Yes. This is gross to me.
He
though,
says
too.
he does that his contract says he doesn't have to do any calisthenics if he doesn't want to. And what do you think of that? and he hands the contract to Lou, and Lou pisses on it.
Yeah.
Right then and there. We hear the stream and everything.
Then I muted it. I was like, I don't want to hear that. I never want to hear that. It's gross. It's gross.
An alternate take that they do for like television is he blows snot on it and hands it back to him. I actually think that's better.
The snot?
Yeah, like just like wiping his nose with it. And
Yeah,
handing
I
it back
could
to
see
him.
like him like using it as a tissue. Just it feels more. I don't care what this is. I'm just gonna use this as a tissue. I like that better. I wish it was that. Because this was like kind of just like, yeah, it's gross. Like, yeah, I get it. But to me, it was just like, eh.
I didn't think it was funny. I didn't think it was good.
I didn't think it was funny.
Like,
but I
see,
got the point, you know.
But I could see an athlete laughing at it.
Yeah.
It feels like athlete humor. Right?
I see what you mean by that. Yeah. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the different steps of a sports movie. So I'm trying to find like in what part of a sports movie. So this is from the New York Film Academy. Somebody wrote an article a decade ago about like how to do underdog sports movie. So you introduce the underdog, and then step 2 is show the suck, which would be this. They're showing all of the ways that the characters suck.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Set the goals, bring in a surprise superstar, which they do not do in this. Make them better, make them bond, throw in some romance, for a montage.
Yeah, romance. Okay.
And the big game.
Romance.
No. We will get to that, yeah, and wrap it up. So yes, this follows the steps. For those of you that have ever like had to take creative writing or are in like creative writing or anything like that, and you talk about the different plot points and archetypes of different genres, like a heist or the hero's journey or whatever, this follows the archetypes and the plot points of a underdog film pretty well, based on what I was saying. They don't. The only thing they don't do is they don't bring in like a ringer. They don't do like a trade for somebody.
I'm kind of glad they don't.
It makes more sense that they don't.
It feels better that they don't.
But anyway, my point was like this is them showing the suck, as this author from the New York Film Academy mentioned in their article. It was actually a student resource article of how to write an underdog sports movie.
There you
go. I think it's supposed to be kind of, semi-satirical about like the different genres. I don't even see an author on it. For all I know, AI wrote it based on all of AI's knowledge about it. So anyway,
we could ask AI what they think.
Rachel's thinking about doing that right now.
This says you have to introduce the underdog.
Right.
Okay. Then you have to establish the challenge. Show the underdog undergoing intense training and preparing for the upcoming challenge. There needs to be some setbacks, building relationships so that you have the development between the underdog and the teammates, coaches, mentors, whatever. Midpoint triumph. This has 16 points, by the way. Doubt and internal conflict. Then the lowest point, and then a revelation or a learning moment. Then they rally the troops, they have the final showdown, they overcome the odds, and then the celebration resolution.
Whenever we do a sports movie, and in particular an underdog movie, we will be looking for those points. Right. Very similar to what I had said from that other article as well. So I think there are definitely beats that you hit here. Yeah. So this is them, showing why they suck. They explain the red tag. Getting a red tag in your locker means that the manager wants to see you because you're very likely have been cut. I think it's supposed to be like, I don't know if they still do this or not. I was never on a team that I would have been cut from, so I can't speak to it. But it seems like it's a way to be able to cut someone without making it a little quieter, singling them out.
Yeah.
So,
now, or maybe it doesn't even mean cut, period. It's just like, you need to go talk to them because it's like, hey, this is my way of like reaching out to you and saying, you want to come talk to me. But most likely I could see that being like
they've been cut.
Yeah. Look.
No, they've been cut. Vaughn is afraid to open the door, and even with Taylor saying they won't cut him on the first day, he still won't open it because he's just like, afraid that like it's going to be his time.
Yeah.
We learned the tricks that Harris uses for curves because he's washed up. He doesn't have the skill that Vaughn has, so he uses Crisco and Vagisil and Vaseline, and he's like, and if the umps are looking at him pretty close, he just puts a little jalapeno right under his lips there, just kind of sniffs it up. So they put some snot on the ball.
So weird.
So all of this stuff I think is supposed to like affect the curve. I guess it does, but it's like,
well, I think
he's
because
one
it
of those
slips
old...
on your hand a lot easier. So like you can
Right.
use that momentum to like let it just fly instead of having any type of grip.
He's clearly like this washed up pitcher that just every trick he can think of he's trying to use.
Right.
Except for steroids, because he's just kind of this
Apparently.
lanky looking guy.
Yeah.
Serrano is praying to Jobu
Yes.
to help him hit the curve. This little idol.
It's like a little,
that-
a little idol figurine. Yeah.
It looks like a almost like a witch doctor type character.
You know, I didn't think so.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I thought it kind of looked like Great Scott a little bit. I thought it kind of looked a little bit
Doc
Einstein.
Brown?
Yeah, kind of. Hold on, let me look at this because I thought it looked.
Rachel needs to get a good look at Jobu. Hello, Jobu.
Maybe it does, but it's got like crazy like spike hair. It's got a cigarette or like some type of smoking device in its the mouth. It looks like it's wearing like a full body suit, like a white full body suit with a red scarf for a belt.
Almost like a martial arts.
Yeah.
Whatever you call that. I can't remember the name.
But I don't know. It's very odd to me. It's got like this smile. It almost looks like a bobblehead that was like, here's like all these extra things added to it. And then he's like put like a necklace and stuff around it. So I saw it.
You can get a replica Jobu on Amazon right now for $60.
Of course you can.
So there you go.
Of course you can.
He's praying to Jobu, I assume, is not exactly a real depiction of what someone that believes in voodoo would be doing.
I don't know a lot about voodoo. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know a lot about voodoo. I would think
you're not an expert on voodoo.
I unfortunately am not.
Wow.
I kind of find it interesting. I find it fascinating. I just am not an expert, so it's like I don't want to like talk about it too much. But it's like the depictions in like movies and TV shows usually put it to an extreme, put it to like an interesting position, and I don't know if it's very accurate, to be quite honest. You know,
I don't know either. I'm gonna go out on a limb
and say no.
And say it's not, but I have no idea.
I mean, the way that this kind of makes fun of everything, I would assume it's taking it to an extreme.
Yeah, because it's 1989. You're making fun of voodoo.
Yes,
like, I'm guessing it's not accurate.
Yeah,
but who knows? I mean, this same year as Child's Play, or the year before was Child's Play, also has voodoo in it. Which one is more accurate? I don't know.
You tell us.
Major League or Child's Play? Serrano is offering him cigar and rum.
Yeah.
As an offering to Jobu.
Sure.
The team is surrounding him, wondering what
he's
doing.
And I do think offerings is a thing, but I usually think it's to more like a spiritual.
It
sense.
isn't. Christianity has offerings, so I think everything.
Yeah, I think you're right. Every religion has some sort of offering to some sort of thing. Being higher sort being
theist, yes. Harris is a Christian zealot.
Well, you know, it's interesting. So. It is interesting though because they both wear crosses.
Serrano even says yes. Jesus. I like him very much.
Right. I feel like this guy kind of dabbles a little bit in religion, and like found one that he really vibed with, and that's kind of part of the whole thing.
And part of it is like a superstitious thing for him too.
Sure.
Like he's using voodoo almost like in a superstitious way.
Yes, he does do that. You're right.
Because Harris says he should try to take Jesus instead, and that's where he says the thing about Jesus. And he says, but he was no help. He could not help him hit the curve. We get a famous line. I really enjoyed this line and the way that Harris says it.
He becomes so offended.
You trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
Jesus could have played baseball.
It just reminds me, I just like that idea of like, well, you're going to sit there and tell me that Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball. It just puts a picture in my mind of Jesus in like the robes. Like, all right, well, watch me hit some dingers. Like,
I'm going to hit this one out here.
Like just say like, and ye hold my children. Like, I am the light. I am the way. Now watch me hit some dingers. But yes, a really, really good line there. What was I saying? Oh, he does warn Harris, don't steal Jobu's rum.
Right. You don't steal an
bad.
offering. That's a horrible
Yes.
idea.
Yeah.
We've
Even
seen
folks
these
at home.
things. You see an offering,
Even if you-
leave it. You leave
Even
it
if
be.
you are not religious,
You're gonna get
do
cursed.
not. Yeah, you're gonna get cursed.
Like, why would you
You don't
even
know what that is.
Why would you play with that? Why would you play
No.
with that?
Yeah, I don't care what it is. In fact, this might be a good thing to do on the street. Just like if you're afraid of like somebody stealing like your car or something, just put like a little like something over it to make it look like it's an offering.
Right.
Some sort. People should leave that thing alone.
You don't touch that.
They might get cursed. Our grandma, famous for giving out curses, Rachel.
Oh, very.
Not in the same way though.
No.
But similar.
Yeah. You gotta be careful. You don't cross. You
Do
don't
not
cross her.
our. Yes. You
Oh,
do
no.
not. You would not want to cross our grandmother because she would curse you.
It's true. And it would stick.
Vaughn continues to have wild pitches, but he has a shitload of speed. He just keeps like hitting this aluminum baseball guy and he eventually like knocks the thing's head off.
Yes.
Because he has such high quality pitches.
I'm
Taylor's
not gonna
knees-
lie. When I played tennis, I had a very like strong hit that was like I could hit really fast, but when I first started, I could not control that at all. So it went flying most of the time, nowhere near where I wanted it to go. So I understand this.
The key
I
to a lot of
relate.
these. Yeah, the key to a sport like this, like a tennis or a baseball, is you have to have control
Right.
of the power. You can have all the power in the world, but if you can't hit it into a very precise zone, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't do you any good. We get our first montage of
Yes.
the movie here, Rachel, because it's the montage of them doing training camp, and Vaughn continues to have the wild pitches. Taylor's knees are killing him. Serrano can't hit a curve. We get a montage of all this activity. At some point, Serrano is using a snake before he opens the door to see if he has the red tag.
To make sure
So
it's like you gotta.
Hayes
just...
does the same thing with like a little garden
I thought
snake.
that was kind of funny. He's like, okay, if it worked for you, I can get a snake. I can do that.
Yeah. I guess Lou just sees all the potential in these guys, and that's why they're not getting cut, because they all have a strength.
Yes.
And he thinks if he can either emphasize the strength, and folks at home, this goes for anything. This goes for your work. This goes if you have employees, are on a team, or you're doing Little League or whatever. You should be trying to emphasize somebody's strengths and
Yeah.
minimizing their weaknesses. You can work on somebody's weaknesses, but
To
you
make
should
them a
be
little
emphasizing their
stronger.
strengths.
Yeah.
The montage is happening. We see Hayes does some push-ups during a game.
Yeah,
for
during
popping
a
up.
game.
She's funny. I mean, it's spring training. You can do it. What the hell? I do love the moment when Hayes slides too early
Yes.
into second,
Yeah.
and he doesn't make it, and the guy kind of is like, "Come on!" And then Hayes gives him the finger as he gets tagged out.
Right.
That's good. I like that.
Sliding
make it-
hurts. It's like
Yeah, it's hard.
seeing that sliding stuff. It's always just like ugh. Because
That's why they have to wear. I always thought it was stupid that like baseball players wear these like long baggy clothes and like it just seems so counterintuitive for what you're trying to do.
Right.
And it's because you have to do the slides and shit, and otherwise you just
Your
like,
skin
I
would
still
get
feel
torn
like
off.
there's probably something that you could change about the uniforms to make them more easier to do. But
Probably.
baseball is a traditional sport, and God forbid you change anything. So.
Well, if we ever get to, League of their own, they actually were doing the slides, the actresses, and they have to wear skirts. And so their legs were being destroyed.
Well, like we're all, yeah. That seems stupid. That just seems like a terrible idea.
Oh my god.
It's the last day of spring training, and Ricky is afraid of getting the tag. Jake tells him and Hayes that, hey, if you do make it, don't want to celebrate in front of somebody else that's, dead.
Right.
And Willie's like, what if we're the deceased?
It's
So
like,
one by one, they open their lockers. They show some random guy getting it, just to give you an idea.
Yes.
And then Hayes opens it comically, because he does like the, like he like flinches like when it opens.
Yes. And he doesn't want to look at it, and then he's closing his eyes, and then he looks, and there's
like
nothing.
one eye open.
Right.
Yeah. Serrano is doing some voodoo.
Yep.
And then Vaughn opens it, and there's a red tag there. So that would indicate that he has been cut. So he
Right.
storms into Lou's office, and Lou's like, I like that kind of fire in a player. Because
he's
telling
like,
him, like...
chips over the chair. He starts yelling at him, like, how dare you?
Throws a ball at a locker.
He's like,
I
have
have
potential.
You might think I'm a piece of shit. Yeah. I'm going to come back and I'm going to kick your ass or whatever.
Right.
He's like, well, that's great, but I didn't cut you. And he's like, somebody must be having some fun with you. So Vaughn immediately is like... thinks about it for like a second and then goes and just tackles Dorn.
Yeah, he knew
like,
immediately.
Yeah, that it was like some guys, causing trouble. They start fighting and Lou comes out and he tells him, knock it off, leave it for the field. And Dorn says something and he's like, shut up, Dorn.
So even he's annoyed with him at this point.
Yeah. Taylor, I've said at this point, has taken on a mentor role. I don't know why I said that. I guess because he goes and tells Rick, like, hey, you got to get ready for Cleveland or something like that. But he's clearly taking Ricky and Willie under his wing.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is doing that umpire thing too, where it's not umpire, catcher, the catcher thing.
Yeah, the catcher thing.
Where it's like you kind of have to help them stay in line. Because I guess I never realized this, but in baseball, like if something is happening with like a catcher or another. Or like another one of like the team, a lot of the time it's the coach and the catcher that go and talk.
Yep.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So I guess that is true. It is a position that kind of does quarterback, to analogize another sport, kind of quarterbacks the rest of the players.
Yeah.
We get a scene of Jake going out to the diamond at the Indians Park by himself. He mimics calling his shot and hitting the game-winning home run, and then he starts like rounding the bases. So he's just running the bases by himself because he's happy to be back.
Yes,
I think is the idea.
I think it feels good because it's probably something he really enjoyed doing.
I think what we're seeing here is the second half of like if you were to have watched the Jake Taylor story, because he was an all-star. Mm-hmm. So I think you would have seen him as like this brash young guy that's kind of flamboyant maybe, but like he's just one of the guys. He's very much enjoys his all-star life. And then I think as his knees go out and he gets busted down to the minors and then he ends up playing ball in Mexico.
Yeah.
You see him like as like kind of like a broken man that thinks like he's kind of lost everything. Mm-hmm. And like now he kind of thinks this is like his ability to redeem himself here.
Yeah.
Or his or like his last stand. Like maybe he doesn't think that he'll be anything, but like just his last stand in the pros kind of a thing. As he does this, Vaughn and Hayes come out and make fun of him.
In like a nice way, though.
Yeah,
in
they're like, man, you got a whole
way.
Yeah, like as friends would do, like seeing you do this kind of thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like we're gonna make fun of you, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it's kind of cute.
This would be mid to late March in Cleveland. I don't think it's this nice out where it's like sunny and
probably not.
Yeah, it's probably pretty cold. But this whole scene is foreshadowing the end of the movie. So there is purpose to this scene.
Oh, really?
Yes, because he calls his shot.
Oh, he calls the shot.
He envisions himself hitting the game-winning home run.
Right.
So it's setting up for later in the movie. Taylor takes them to a French restaurant to celebrate making the team. So I think he's taking him because he played for Cleveland before, so he knows the restaurants in town and stuff.
Right.
So he's taking them to this restaurant to be able to, like this is a nice place. Like now that you're making big league money, we can like go and celebrate.
Yeah. This is like a really nice place though, where you're supposed to wear like a coat and tie.
Yes, you're supposed to wear. And why is that important, Rachel?
Because Ricky is wearing like of course the sleeves are cut off of this like leather jacket, and then they put a tie on him, but he's wearing like a tank top underneath, so it looks really silly.
So he says he looks like a banker, which of course is the joke because he looks like ridiculous. Because they must have given him a tie at the door, or
probably
Jake
they always
brought
have
one.
those extra ones. Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out like what is on the menu, and Vaughn's like, "Do they have chili dogs in France?" Like, because that's all he wants. And he's like, "I'll order for you."
They're very simple. And like he's like, you probably could have taken them to the hot dog stand, and they would have been like, "This is great."
Right. There's a deleted joke in this that was like in the trailer. It's like something about like he allowed the home run, and so it might have been a later scene. But I remember I like can picture this scene, and I for some reason think that they're wearing suits.
Okay.
And Vaughn says something about like, I gave up that home run, Jake tries to calm him by saying, like, well, there's a lot of parks that wouldn't have been a home run, and it wouldn't have gotten out of a lot of them.
Sure.
And he goes, name one. And Jake goes, Yellowstone. And they, like, sit there for a second, and then they all laugh, so I don't know if it's because it was, like, an outtake. Taylor says it's, like, his last shot or whatever. And then he sees someone eating down below. Yes. And he recognizes her and says that it's his wife. Well, not his wife.
The woman who would have been his wife.
But he would have been his wife.
If he wasn't a screw-up.
Yeah. And they're like, well, who's that guy with her? And they're like, we don't know. And Vaughn's like, do you want me to take him outside and kick the shit out of him? He just says it so nonchalantly.
Well,
so this is where...
Yeah, I'm wondering...
This is where Taylor begins stalking Rene Russo. Go ahead, Rachel.
Start the horror music.
Yeah,
oh my god.
You are, right.
There's nothing... I will tell you right now. There's nothing romantic or sweet about any of this. Never do this to somebody. Never.
Yes, this is very, very creepy.
Creepy. Now, the second I was like, are you kidding? Like, a lot of this stuff was like, ooh.
If the movie portrayed this as he's being goofy and weird and crazy, I would be okay with it. I think the movie thinks this is romantic.
It is not. The way they portray women in this entire movie is awful, all right?
Well, Renee's the old... Well, okay, yeah, there's 2 women in this movie. One is the love interest and one is the antagonist.
3 women. And all of them are portrayed in a weird light from a man's perspective, and it's just so awkward.
Who's the 3rd woman?
The other one's wife.
Oh, sure. Okay,
yeah.
Yes. Yes, this movie does not like. Well, I mean, they like Rene Russo just fine. Rene Russo is a strong woman.
She could be a strong woman, and then she becomes batshit.
Her character arc is very odd.
It doesn't make any sense.
I agree. Yes,
she should be calling the police. I do not want them to end up together.
So. He stages a call. This, by the way, Rene Russo's first movie, which is interesting. So Thor's mom is,
Oh, that's so weird. I would have thought she would have been in like other stuff already.
Thor's mom is.
She's got that 80s hair going.
Baseball. Absolutely.
It's
80s
curly
up the wazoo.
It's like curly on top and in the front, but then like straight in the back and underneath.
Yeah,
it's very interesting. It's like a half perm.
He stages a call for Lynn. So. She's eating dinner with her, what we end up learning is her fiance.
Yes.
And then the maitre d' comes up and says that she has a call.
Which, like...
And she's like, that's weird.
How is that not a bizarre thing? Like, even back then, I feel like it would be such a bizarre thing, unless you are, like, the biggest regular, and you go there at the exact same time, at the exact same day of, like... That is a weird thing.
Hold on. I will give you a scenario where this could have happened. If you're a big business person or if you're like whatever and you're like, hey, I have a dinner.
But they have to know.
But if you need me, call me at the restaurant's number.
Sure. Fair. But they have to know that you're there.
Yes. They do. Well, yes,
I don't think I
agree.
would
But she
if
says that's weird.
If somebody came up to me, if the waiter comes over to me and goes, "Hey, you have a call," no, I don't.
She says it's weird. But it's 1989. What are you gonna do? You're not gonna pick up the phone?
No, I understand. It just seems so weird because the waiter has to know your name too.
Well, I figured
because the husband
like,
or the fiance's known type of thing. Maybe?
No, I figured it was like, I'm looking for Lynn, whatever. She's
and
wearing a black dress with a red sash.
Oh, okay, it's at this table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like, yeah, like
fair enough.
This is what she looks like. Yeah.
That's creepier.
So
if a waiter gets a call and the guy starts describing what she's wearing, creepier. But I wouldn't put it past him.
So he reveals that he's there because he's like, oh yeah, I remembered. So here's what I think happened. I think that he did go to this restaurant with her because she's like more of an intellectual type person.
She is.
She's running like
she's also
a library.
Sporty, but yeah, she's intellectual.
Yeah. and is into all these classic novels and stuff. He's a dopey, jock professional baseball player. But they must have gone to this restaurant when they dated, so that's why he remembered it as being a good restaurant. I don't think he in any way, shape, or form intended to see this woman here.
No. Not at this point.
He should have probably made that slightly clearer.
Yeah.
Because
and then be a little sillier. Like, ha ha ha, look, I made like this call.
Like I'm up there with the boys. Like point to Willie and Rick.
Guys. And they'd probably be like, and silly, like, wave down, like, hey.
Because if I am this woman, and this man that I was dating, to your point, Rachel, cue the horror music.
Yes.
Is, like, at the bar at this restaurant, like, doing this fake call thing, I'd be like, did you fucking stalk me? Why are you here?
Yes.
I thought you were in Mexico.
Right.
Very unsettling.
It's very unsettling. It gets worse. It just keeps getting worse. It spirals.
He's escalating. he calls her a stunner. She tries to play it off like she's still on a call because she doesn't want the fiance to realize that she's talking to this guy.
Yeah. Because then she has to explain everything. It's very awkward.
Yeah. She tries to play it back of like, I need to head back to my table. And he's like, well, just give me your number. I'll talk to you later. She doesn't want to.
Yes. Take no for an answer.
At this point, this man, who is our hero of the story, should stop.
Oh, man. Absolutely.
She does an Elaine here. She gives him a number to placate him.
Yes.
This is the worst part of this movie, is this entire attempt at romance here.
Oh.
I don't know what people would have thought of this in 1989, if they would have found this romantic.
It's like, oh, he's just being charming because he's just showing up everywhere. No.
Yeah. Today it is like, you need to stop this.
Someone needs to give this man a restraining order. It's horrible. All right, but back to baseball.
He hasn't... It's game day.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I like that transition.
Oh, okay.
It's game day. Serrano is shaving with a knife. Dorn is reading the Wall Street Journal.
He's shaving his head. Okay, he's not shaving his
head
beard.
with just a giant blade.
Yes.
Vaughn can't stop flipping a ball. I like the quiet nervousness of this scene.
Yeah.
I like that very much. Of just like, they're all very nervous to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Lou says he can't give inspirational speeches very well, but everyone has picked them to finish dead last.
Thanks for telling us.
Yeah. And he says, apparently they all think it would save us a lot of time if we just went out there and shot ourselves.
Yeah, he's not very good at speeches. Yeah. That isn't his strength. That's fine.
And then at the end of it is he's like, but I would like to prove them wrong here and make them eat a big shit burger. Meaning like he wants them to eat their words, kind of.
Yeah.
He thinks it's hilarious. He's like,
Now you have me, like, now that you've mentioned like a now times, it would be like a Ron Swanson. Yeah. I could totally see him saying like, I'm going to make him eat a big shit burger and then laughing at his own joke. Like, I could see that.
I don't want this movie remade, but if it does need to be remade, Nick Offerman is the Lou Brown part for sure.
Yeah.
Harris wants to pray before the game. They're like, whatever. And so Harris starts praying, and as he starts it, Serrano sets off some sort of like explosion popper thing.
What is that?
Because he's in the corner doing his voodoo praying.
Yes.
And I like in the middle of this, Harris just goes, Jesus Christ, Serrano! Because like, a lot of his religiosity is performative as well. Like, it's because he thinks it will help him as well.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need to wake up the bats. so
bats.
It sets off the sprinklers though, and they all run out wet from the locker room.
Yep.
Fairly fitting for the season about to happen.
Yeah, I feel like it. That would just flood the place too. So that's it's gonna be an issue. It's gonna cost a lot of money to deal with that.
Well, she's not gonna replace that.
The firemen are gonna show up because they have to turn it off. It's the whole thing now.
All these things. Here comes the star of the movie, Rachel. It is Harry Doyle, played by Bob Uecker. He is the best part of this movie, for me.
It's very silly.
He's the play-by-play guy for the radio.
Yep.
his intro is he's got a giant thing of Jack Daniels next to him and all these cups. He puts some on his hand and dabs it behind his ear in this intro. So that he can smell like the.
I guess he just loves it. You know, he just loves it that much. He's just like, this is also my cologne.
Yes, exactly. Pretty much every line he does here, it's all gold. It's all gold. A lot of these lines are improvised. He was the play-by-play guy for the Milwaukee Brewers back in the day.
Okay.
So he knows how to call a game. He knew exactly what Ward wanted from this part. And Bob Uecker is just such a great personality. I know him best, of course, from being a part of WrestleMania 4 or 5.
Oh, okay.
Can't remember which one. Andre the Giant choked him out.
Oh, that's fun. That's very fun.
But he has that type of personality, right? Where he's just very quick-witted.
Yeah,
and
right.
So just pretty great. He was on, like, Mr. Belvedere and some other, like, things like that before going into this role in Major League, of course.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of new faces, and hopefully we learn some of the names behind those faces before they get to bat. There's barely anyone in the crowd. Oh, the other great joke about this is that he has a color guy that never says anything.
Yeah, he just sits next to him.
He just sits there.
It's great.
We should have done that for this, Rachel. It should have been me doing all the play-by-play, and then, like, you never say anything, and you have, like, 2 lines the entire podcast.
Oh my
and
God.
Then that's it.
Could you imagine? I'm more of a dodgeball, Cotton and...
Yeah, you are more Cotton. Yeah. Or not
I'm just
Cotton,
here to have a good
the other
time.
one. Yeah, Pepper or whatever his name is.
Let's see how that happens for him, Cotton.
Yeah. There's barely... We'll get to that movie, too. That one's on the list. All of these movies are on the list. Because that one's kind of in the same vein of basketball, making fun of the sports movies.
Exactly. I like those types, yeah.
Yeah. This one is not a parody of a sports movie.
No, it
is
just
a sports
is.
movie with comedy.
Right.
There's barely anyone in the crowd. The owner's box has Phelps hoping to lose in it. She's got this, like, rickety fence owner's box.
What is this? It looks... Is it supposed to be like, here's my front lawn? Like, in like...
Yeah. That's the look of it, for sure.
It's so weird.
Yeah, compared to nowadays, especially when owners' boxes are like these fucking little mini houses that
yeah,
like,
that's
they
also
all can sit
insane.
in.
They're not even watching the game at that point.
The game starts, and Hayes does a breadbasket catch where he lets it kind of fall into him without reaching the glove up. A Willie Mays style catch, they say on commentary. And when Hayes comes back to the dugout, Lou Brown goes, "Nice catch, Hayes. Never fucking do it again." Because it's improper way to do it. He's showing off.
Right.
Hayes goes up to bat first. Harry Doyle says on commentary that some people think that you can tell how the season's going to go by the first batter.
Yes.
So then it makes sense. He accidentally hits the ball because he's just got the bat out in the wrong spot.
Yep.
And he outruns the throw to first because
So
it's
it
like this little
works
dribbler.
Yeah.
And we learned that he bought 100 gloves for each base he plans
so
to steal.
Weird. Such an odd thing. Okay.
Well, he wants, he wants to like have all these gloves that he's going to steal all these bases.
I just don't understand the gloves.
Of why the gloves?
Why gloves?
Because he's sliding in head first. So he's putting gloves on. I don't know why the gloves. Like, why does he need these?
Oh, I see.
Like,
So
why
he's
does he need to change from hitting
so he's
gloves
putting
to
gloves
these gloves?
on
No idea.
to steal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
don't
then
know why
every time,
he's changing
so every
it,
time he
but-
steals, he's touching a base with his glove.
Yes.
And that's the steal. Okay. Still weird, but I get it. I think in his weird mindset. Yeah.
10 years from now, he'll have a big collection that he can sell and sign the gloves and stuff like that. It's a
That's
signature.
okay. Fair.
They're playing the Yankees,
They
who
are.
that we learn are the defending world champions. Uecker is optimistic this whole time, too, because it's the first game. He says, we don't know where he played last year, but he's sure, but they're sure he did a hell of a job because they have no information on any of these guys.
Right.
And clearly Willie has not played anywhere in the past year.
Exactly. Or even probably
Hayes
in the
takes-
past period. We don't know.
Right, we have no idea. Hayes takes too big of a lead off of first, and they pick him off, so they get the first out here.
Yeah, well, because the guy says, like, oh, you're going to take for like second with your shoes
untied.
untied
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
distracts
He falls
him.
for it, yeah.
Yep.
And Uecker goes, oh, he's out. Personally, I think we got hosed on that call, which, like, is also funny because he was, like, clearly way out.
Right.
We get a montage of the team playing inept.
Yep, 3 of them hit each other when they're trying to catch the ball, and it's just kind of not good. Missing catches and everything.
So they bring in Vaughn as a relief pitcher here to try to get them out of a jam here in one of the innings. Euchre says he's a juvenile delinquent in the offseason. Truly an iconic movie moment.
Okay.
Because Vaughn goes to throw his first pitch, and it's a wild pitch, goes way past the home plate, and goes in, and it like hits the barricade, the wall behind home plate.
Right.
And Euchre says the most famous line from this movie.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
The way he says just a bit outside
is
been mocked and not mocked, but mimicked and mimicked and mimicked over the past since this movie came out.
Really?
Whenever you see a wild pitch like that, somebody inevitably will go just a bit outside.
That's funny.
But I even like the way that he so casually just goes, he tried the corner and missed after he says it. Yes, Rachel, that is like, if you look that up right now, it's probably in like top lists of quotes.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Of all time.
Huh. I do like that you just were like ignoring the racist fans in the, well, not racist, just inappropriate fans in the crowd. Is
that because they're dressed up with the Indian face paint stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to go as far as racist, but I'm going to go as far as inappropriate.
It's inappropriate.
It's just a little too much. Because they even do like the and
yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of
frickin' watch the fucking Kansas City Chiefs play, and they'll do the tomahawk chop and all that.
They still do that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's like, you guys need to calm down a little bit.
There's a teepee in the middle of like center field or something like that, where like this group of like 4 people must just go to every single Indians game. And to Rachel's point, like they're wearing war paint and all this stuff, and they're just kind of like there. So yeah, they're like
it's just a little.
They're the loyal.
Oh,
they're the
very
loyal
like
fans.
This is our team, and we are here for this team, and we're gonna dress the part, and we're gonna act the part. They're very passionate. Just yeah. Did you look up your thing? You never told me.
There's nothing saying like it's one of like the most iconic things ever. I don't know how I would look that up. Here's the AFI's top 100 movie quotes. I want to see if it's in it. No, it's not. Well, it should be.
I think it's funny.
Personally, I think they got hosed on that call. Vaughn walks the bases on 12 straight pitches, so now bases are loaded. The super fans that we just talked about start singing Wild Thing towards Vaughn because of all of his wild pitches. All of these pitches are like all over the place.
Right.
Harry Doyle goes, I don't know how these guys are just laying off these pitches when they're that close. Which, of course, they're not. But
right.
Since it's radio, nobody knows.
He's just trying to make them sound better than they are.
The next Yankee does some trash talk. Apparently improvised trash talk, according to the director, too, where he goes, oh, Taylor, you're back? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, how's your wife and my kids? Which at first, like the first time I heard it, I was like, are they divorced? What is the joke there? And then I'm like, oh no, I got it. He slept with the wife. Okay,
right.
Got it.
And there's a lot of the like the finger stuff where like they're like, I'm gonna tell you like what to do here.
Did you pick up on that? Because at the end of the game, when they start doing it, or at the end of the movie when they all start doing it, I was like, I wish this would have been set up, but you actually see them doing some signals.
No, more so just from the catcher. He's doing the signal to
it's the numbers that tells what pitch to throw.
Okay, sure. Yes, there was so much of it at the end. It was just like, I'm so confused.
That's what I figured. That's why I was like, I wish they would have set up what those mean, or at least be like, do a scene at the beginning where they can't tell what signals are being given.
Yeah,
where like somebody's trying to give a signal. He's like, what the fuck?
What's that one?
I can't understand
what
it.
What does that one mean?
Yeah, establish that. Yeah, so that at the end when they're all giving the signals, like you understand that they've figured out how to give signals,
how to talk to each other.
Yeah.
It's just the only one I see is between those two, but it's just like I still don't even. I figured it was like
You'd have to know baseball to know what they're what they're
right.
doing there.
It was just kind of like
The Yankee homers off Vaughn, and they're like, well, at least it looked like a strike because he did get it over the plate that time.
Yes.
And they say, should we take him out? And Lou's like, no, let me see how he reacts. And the next batter comes up and he throws a wild pitch again, and it hits the guy in the back. Vaughn gets tossed because the ump thinks that he did it on purpose, which he did. I don't think he did. I think he just hit him.
Yeah.
And the game's over, and the Indians lose the first game, and Doyle goes, the post-game show's brought to you by, and he can't find the page to do his ad read, so he goes, Christ, I can't find it. To hell with it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
We go back to the romance side of things now, Rachel.
Yeah, the romance. The stalking
Taylor,
side.
He tries calling Lynn. We find out that she pulled in a lane here. Well within her right to do so.
Oh, absolutely. Because he wouldn't take no for an answer. So it's like, okay, fine. I want this guy to leave me alone. So here's a fake number.
Take the hint, Jake Taylor.
Yep.
Take the hint.
Oh, my God.
But then he escalates.
He does.
So he goes to the library. I can't tell if she works for, like, a local college or, like, the city library or museum or something.
It's kind of hard to tell.
She's a curator
for... like an archive.
Yeah, she's like a curator for books and stuff, it looks like. The music indicates that this is romantic.
Yeah. That's what the music indicates. It doesn't... we definitely changed that one.
Yeah, somebody re-edit this.
I would
Folks
love
at home,
to see it.
give me a re-edit of this with the creepy, like, horror music, like Cinema Stab uses or something like that.
Yes, and it's like all of a sudden they just, like, bounce to him. It's like...
like
yeah. You need, like, some of that, like, that heartbeat, like, music that's, like, pulsating. It's gross.
Yeah. We learned that they were both pro athletes. She's like, I'm not a pro athlete anymore. Like, I'm older and I'm moving on with my life.
Right. I found something else I can be passionate about and enjoy.
He never read anything that she asked him to. And we get a fairly good walk and talk argument. Like, the way that they're moving the camera and stuff is actually pretty good in this conversation because she's just trying to do her job. And we're learning about their past. That they were both athletes and she had other plans. And he was a guy that really enjoyed the lifestyle of being a pro athlete, going out with the guys and doing all this stuff. We find out that he cheated on her.
Yep. And that was the mistake.
Flight attendant. Yep,
but
and that was the mistake.
The thing is the way he says this, it's not a mistake in his eyes.
Go ahead, because I don't know I can't remember.
Okay, because I didn't like any of this romance. Okay, so of course I remember it because it, like, annoyed and was gross and skeevy. So, because she says, well, at least he didn't cheat on me with the stewardess, right? I never found him in bed with the stewardess. And he goes, no stewardess would have him. Wouldn't you rather be with a guy that's, like, wanted?
Oh, I think he was trying to...
He's trying to be funny. That's not funny.
Yeah. I think he was either trying to be funny or he was trying to, like, frame it in a different light. I don't think he thinks he was...
No.
Yeah, no, Jake Taylor in this movie is a psychopath. This man is a psycho. Not like baby cake, not at the level of baby cake psycho, but pretty damn close.
No, he's not baby cake psycho. It gets a little baby cake psycho in a little bit.
Yes, it does. Yes. It's not as bad as Addicted to Love Matthew Broderick psycho. It's probably at the My Best Friend's Wedding Julia Roberts psycho level.
You know?
While you were sleeping level?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to make her, like, realize, like, no, you actually do want me. No, you don't. No, you don't.
I would go with Julia Roberts, My Best Friend's Wedding. Like, above that.
That feels about,
On the psycho level, this guy is fucking crazy.
It's true.
There needs to be a warning out for Jake Taylor. They haven't seen each other in 3 years. I think because he was embarrassed. What did I write that for? I don't know what I wrote that down for.
I don't know, because I don't...
They start
I wasn't
screaming.
even proud of the situation. I don't think he really said anything about being embarrassed about it.
I think because he was embarrassed about having to go down to Mexico. So that's why he didn't ever talk to her in 3 years, because he was just so embarrassed about the state of his career that he didn't want to talk to her
that would
about
make
it.
More
like
sense.
He felt like a failure.
Okay.
They start screaming, and the whole place looks towards them. So, this is funny.
Yes, because it's like a loud argument in a library. Yep.
Biddly dinky bink. Okay. Time passes, and we learn that they are 15 and 24. So not terrible. They've won 15 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's not awful. Like, that can't be the worst. I don't know.
It's probably down there, but
Right.
it's not like the worst. Phelps is mad because they aren't playing worse, and they're showing signs of improvement. So she's brainstorming how to sabotage them further, and she says, you know what, we're coddling them too much. So she begins to make their lives worse by giving them this, like, ridiculously beat up plane.
Yes. Difficult ways of getting to where they need to go, and, like, crappy
so they can't
equipment.
sleep, and they can't,
Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll like lose on their road trips more. I do like the moment on the plane when Serrano does the sign of the cross,
Yes.
and Harris goes like, "Oh, so now you're praying to God."
You know, he pays attention. He knows.
Yeah. They lose a game on the road, and Vaughn had 4 wild pitches in 1 inning, which was a record. So he's in the record books now. Later on, Jake and Vaughn are out at a bar, and somebody asks for Ricky's autograph, and they're like, yeah, you've made the news as their wall of shame or whatever.
Right. Like, the worst. I don't know. I feel like, I guess maybe it's in character for him to continue giving the autograph, but a part of me goes, like, if he would have, like, learned about that, I just could see him, like, immediately stop and then, like, rip it up and then just, like, not even look at the guy anymore.
I thought that
like,
too.
That's
I could see him, like,
nope.
or, like, write, like, asshole, like,
Yes.
on the napkin
instead
or
of his
something
name.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that too. But I guess they're trying to make all of these guys very likable.
Right.
Clearly. Like, even Jake Taylor's Stalker is supposed to be, like, your likable hero.
Sure.
So, like,
Without
but
the-
I agree
the-
with you.
Quote-unquote charming romance. Yes, he is more likable.
Yes, we'll get to it. But I think if you cut the romance out of it...
Oh, yeah, cut it out. It's unnecessary.
Cut all of it out of it, or find a way to not make him a stalker,
Right.
and you'd be in better shape.
Yes.
We get another game where they lost again, and Harry Doyle says that we got 1 hit. That's it? We got 1 goddamn hit? And his partner tells him, like, you can't say that. And he goes, don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
Yeah, he finally gets to say something.
Jake is reading a comic book version of Moby Dick, because one of the things that Lynn brought up was that he never reads the books that she asks for. So he has a comic book version of
This
all of
is
these,
fine.
these classic books.
That's fine. That's silly.
fine.
Yes. He's
If
a
you
bit
weren't
childish
stalking
and
her
I like
and he
it.
was just trying to find ways to impress this woman,
Yes.
it would be okay.
Right.
I wouldn't be great. He should still move on.
Right.
But it wouldn't be stalking this woman.
Exactly.
But instead,
Ooh.
Hayes tells Jake to just
What is
go
this?
see her.
What? I'm sorry. This
Rachel might take her glasses off to make it a very serious moment.
this is the point where because he says, why don't you just go over and see her, right? And he goes, well, I don't know where she lives. And he says, well, that's easy. Tail her from the library. And then the guy goes, isn't that a little juvenile? Is that juvenile? Or is that creepy?
Well, the joke is he says, that's a little juvenile, don't you think? And Hayes goes, yeah. And, like, deadpan says, like, yeah, it is juvenile.
Is that the joke? Because if he would have said something about it being illegal,
Isn't that a little
criminal or
creepy?
something.
Isn't that a little stalkerish?
yes.
Yes.
And he goes, well, yeah.
An acknowledgement would be
And, like, if he
pretty
says
nice.
that, and then the other guy goes, well, yeah. And then that's just leave it like that. That could be the joke. But they're just like, oh, it's just juvenile. Fun
It's
to
just
stalk
boys
somebody.
being boys. Yeah.
Creepy. And then we get the montage of it. And then he does it. And I was like, no. That's so awful. I literally went, what? I
Rachel
said
checked
it
the
out
locks
loud.
in her house after this scene. She had
I
to
had
pause
to.
the movie.
I had to.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. This is some you're on a list somewhere, pal.
Oh my God,
for this kind of
Psycho.
activity.
Again, cue some more of that horror music. He comes around the corner after she like goes into her apartment building, like an apartment building, I should say.
Yes,
and he
this
follows
is very
her
terrifying.
in, and then he
Okay,
like...
no. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay, I'm
Rachel.
sorry.
He does do it. So he does all of this.
Yes, and he even
goes
looks at
into
the
apartment
elevator
building.
and like watches where it goes. That's
Watches
so
what floor it goes on.
I hate it. It freaks me out as a woman.
Like something
okay?
Jeffrey fucking Dahmer would do.
He's staking her out. Like, okay.
This dude has to get over it. Okay, now I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
He realizes she goes to the 6th floor. Now, in modern times, in apartment buildings, usually there's a code or a key card or something, especially if it's going to let you off at your apartment.
Like it goes
it's
straight
an
into
elevator
your apartment.
that goes straight into your
Why
apartment.
anybody would want one of these is beyond me.
It was probably a status thing back in the 80s for
It's
sure.
so creepy to me.
It's like you have your own private elevator almost kind of a thing.
Oh, sure.
But here's the question, and I think I have the answer for this, but why? In God's name, was he able to get in?
Yes! Why was he able to get into that, the apartment building, into the elevator, press the button, and it
gets
goes.
worse. It gets worse later on. It gets worse.
It gets worse. How does it get worse? It does. It does.
How could it get any worse? He goes up to the 6th floor. He gets out of the elevator. I think the reason that it was open was because they're having a dinner party.
Oh, sure. So then maybe they unlocked
so that the guests could get up there. Okay? So I think that's how he gets in. She's embarrassed. Like, Jake.
Yeah.
No!
That is
no!
not...
Call the cops!
I would have been like, what are you doing here? Like, how did you get here? How did you know I was here? Instead, she's just like, oh, Jake, I knew you would do this. This isn't my house. This isn't my place. Yes. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And then,
maybe
what is wrong with the fiance?
Well, the fiance is doing this to like stick it to him.
He should have told him to
make a point.
leave. I know he's trying to be like, look at me, like big businessman. Yeah. Fine. Tell him to leave.
I think the fiance is trying to prove that Lynn has moved on.
Sure.
Like, to your point, it should be like, yes, you are right. You should leave. Goodbye. Yes. Goodbye. That would have been the appropriate thing
honestly,
to do.
Honestly, if this was like the horror movie, she would have been a little freaked out, more freaked out. The guy would have told him to leave, and he's like, no, she invited me. I'm here for the party. Like, that's how the creepy-ass stalker man would act.
Yeah.
Instead, he kind of does this, like, I really don't want to be here. I just wanted to talk to her type of thing.
Right.
Because he's a charming man. This is romantic.
Right.
Sorry.
So he sits, because he's like, why are you even here? And he's like, well, I just came over to discuss some literature with Lynn. What the fuck? Anyway, so he sits down for a drink. The one wife of one of the friends wants to fuck him. Finds him very attractive. I don't know if I would ever find Tom Berenger attractive. I guess because he's got like a ball player's build or something. And you take a look at this woman's husband, and it's like, yeah, all right, fine.
I suppose.
Because this woman's husband looks like if I was a yuppie in the 80s.
Oh my god.
I'd like to think I would
maybe
look
she's
like
a
Marty
status
McFly.
liker too, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So she's
a
like,
fame
he's
fucker.
he's a baseball player.
Yeah.
Oh, like that's what I think she's doing. But yeah, you're more Marty McFly.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. I was listening.
Yeah. He tells. Mark that. Yeah, that's the trailer moment. He tells them all that he's a professional ball player, and then says congrats to Tom. We learn is the fiance's name.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, I've heard that ball players make a lot of money. To your point, Rachel, this wife is looking to like step it up to make more.
Like, oh, do you make money? Because this one's not doing it for me.
Because he goes like, well, it depends on how good they are. And she goes, well, how good are you? And he goes, I make the league minimum. So I looked this up.
Okay. It's got to be a lot, isn't it? Well, nowadays, it's got to be outrageously a lot.
The league minimum in 1989 was $68,000.
Okay.
which today
Oh, no.
would be $172,000.
Good God.
Not too shabby.
No, I take the minimum. I'll take the minimum.
I'd be fine
I'll
with
be
that.
mediocre. I don't care.
The league minimum today is $720,000.
Holy crap. What? I thought you just said it was 172.
No,
Back
in
then it was
inflation, in inflated dollars, that's $68K. He'd be making the equivalent of making $172,000 today.
But that's not how it worked.
No,
Holy
ball players make a
crap.
shitload more now. Yeah,
Now I will definitely be a mediocre ball player. Let's go.
I'll be the shittiest ball player in the majors. I don't fucking
I
care.
just
Give me
put it
1
up.
year of that. I will play one season of baseball. The shittiest you have ever seen. I will be in the record books as the worst Blurns ball player there is.
But you want to know
If
something?
You
got the money.
I got that $720,000.
That's right. Good Lord.
Lynn defends him being an all-star before his knees went out.
Mhm.
So, now she's...
I think
and
it's
they're
just
well,
because
what do
she
you-
knows him. It's like, well...
She knows he's not a total fuck-up. Yeah.
Right.
They're asking him, Tom asks him, what are you going to do after? And he's like, something will come up. And he's like, will it? So he's trying to say, you don't have any prospects. You cannot support Lynn because, as soon as you're done being a ball player, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, I thought I'd move to Hawaii. All right, so here's my thoughts
This is,
on
again,
scene.
creepy.
This is very creepy. In a worse movie, this scene would have entailed him winning them all over.
Yes.
And charming the other. It's just very awkward. There's awkward
this
silences.
is just awkward.
He says he wants to go to Hawaii and have some kids. Some Olympic champions. He's like, I think swimming, something like that.
Describes the exact thing that they would swim in.
And they're like, do you have the girl picked out? And he says, well, I did, but I kind of messed that up. And then they say, oh, wait a minute, Lynn, you were an athlete, weren't you? And she's like, yeah. And they're like, what did you do? And they're like, swimming.
Yeah, the exact same thing that he just mentioned, very specific.
He goes, she made the Olympic qualifier or something like that. So she was a step away from being an Olympic swimmer.
Right.
They all realize that he's talking about Lynn now, which makes it even more awkward. And because I think Jake feels like now he's completely ruined this dinner party and made it awkward for Tom, because Tom was trying to make it awkward for him.
Yes.
He's like, okay, I'm going to leave now. Thanks for the beer.
Right.
And then Tom, I rewound and watched this this little bit a couple of times. Because Tom is like, now do you get this? Stay away from her.
Yes.
In paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Jake says, suck my dick.
Yes.
And I was like, what did he say, Jake, that allows you to have a response of suck my dick?
Because he has my girl, and I'm going to win her back, so suck my dick. Gross.
Sake.
Again.
Does anybody have this mentality in the real world that's above a teenager?
I don't know. Yeah, but I think yes, and that's the creepy part. I think that's the creepy part, because I feel like this is possible, and it's gross.
Tom is in the right here.
Yes.
Maybe Tom's a little square or a little douchey or whatever, but he's in the
even
right.
then, I don't even know if he is that douchey. We don't really get any of his personality.
Not really, no. Back to baseball.
Back
Lou calls
to
Rick
baseball. Thank you.
Lou calls Ricky into the office. I think he's going to cut him. I think that's what he's going to do at the beginning of this scene.
It does kind of feel that way, yes.
Or push him off to the minors, because he says something about, some of the best pitchers, started off having a lot of wild pitches, but they go down to the minors and they refine their craft. Because he's saying,
I don't want you to stop, but I want you to go somewhere that you should be.
He's like, we just haven't seen the progression of your control at all.
Exactly.
Like he was hoping. And he's like, that guy on the board or whatever. And he points to one of the guys on the poster, and Ricky squints at
it. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at.
He's like, I can't see it, yeah. And Lou goes, forget about the poster. And he does an eye test with him.
Yes.
He literally does an optometry test, and he's like, can you read this?
Read these letters.
These letters.
Yeah.
And he can't do it. He squints again.
I kind of wish he would have put something funny. I'm not going to lie. I kind of expected something silly to be written, because then he would have known definitely that, like, he can't read this.
Oh, yeah. Something that would have insulted Ricky, or he knows, like, would have set him off. Yeah. Sure. So they get him some glasses. They're kind of girly. They're, like, orange, calico looking.
I think it's because they're the ones that are going to, like, attach around
his head. They have to
head
attach in the back.
so they don't fall off. So it's like, well, these are what we got. So this is what you get.
Yeah, you just have to use them. He says he's going to get a pair a little more him after the game.
Yeah.
Before that game starts, though, Harris, I think what happens here is Harris was supposed to start, but because of this, Vaughn gets to start this game.
I think, yeah.
I think that's what happens.
Yes.
So Harris goes and steals Jobu's rum.
Yep.
I thought he was going to piss on it.
I really thought so, too, because he was
Because we already had a piss joke earlier in the movie.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And he already had his fly undone and his pants were, like, unbuckled. So I was like, oh, is something weirder going to happen? I'm so glad it didn't.
And he goes like, up yours, Jobu.
Well,
steals the rum.
I'm surprised he didn't, like, replace it with his pee.
Yeah, or something like that. Exactly. Or pissed in the rum. Yeah. But he drinks the rum, he steals Jobu's rum, and then on the way out to the game, out to practice, he gets an arid bat during batting practice, hits him in the back of the head.
Yep.
So I never put two and two together until just this second, Rachel, but I think what they're saying is Harris was too hurt to go, so now Vaughn got to start. Because I was like, Vaughn's a relief pitcher or a closer. Why was he, like, playing the whole game? But I think it's because Harris was out and Vaughn was
Yeah, because he was injured.
There. Yeah.
Exactly.
Vaughn has the nickname Wild Thing now. In fact, like, they call him the Wild Thing at this point.
Because the random fans called him the Wild Thing, and they made it stick.
That's how these things start.
I'm just saying, they made it stick.
It's a good nickname. It's a
Honestly,
really good nickname.
it is, because then you get the song for you and everything.
Yeah.
It's nice, yeah.
He's trying to get his first win. Little, like, chopper goes past, and Dorn is supposed to clearly make the grab, turn around, throw it to first. And he doesn't go after the ball. And now there's runners at the corners. There's a bit more people in the crowd when they do, like, a shot of the crowd.
Yeah.
So there's attendance is up a little bit. I like that Doyle is constantly drinking something. He's got, like, a million cups.
Well, yes, he's always has, like, cups around him, constantly drinking something, and probably something, he shouldn't be having.
Yes, absolutely. Vaughn is pissed at Dorn. Taylor, like, is trying to calm him down or, like, tell him, like, stop with this crybaby bullshit. Like, we're professionals. There's no way that, like, he did that. Like, just get this guy out and get your win and let's move on. This isn't like the penal leagues where, like, somebody's going to try to, like, screw you over.
Yes.
Just get it over the plate. I want him to swing at it.
Right.
Taylor says.
Yes.
So Taylor goes back and he basketballs him into a pop-up by saying something about, like, sleeping with his sister or something like that. I can't remember what he said.
That is definitely basketball.
Oh, you're right. That is basketball. I'm sorry. I heard your sister's going out with Squeak. Whoa! What a fucking stupid movie. I love it.
Well, you missed the part where, like, your favorite guy though does, like, a thing that they're trying to make him.
Oh yeah, listen to that crowd behind. Yeah, and they pretend
Ricky,
to do it,
and then they're like,
yeah,
that's what they're doing. But the actual the hyper fans, right, are actually doing that, and then they start the wave, and it's just so awkward.
Yeah, they're like, maybe we should get a wave going, and it's just the two of them doing it.
Yes,
yeah.
Not even the other two are doing it.
Nothing
just
worse.
two of them.
Nothing worse. There are two things about going to an audience to watch a sports or sports entertainment event thing that I cannot stand.
Yeah.
One is it's obnoxious fans, for sure. If you're sitting by an obnoxious drunk, it's the worst thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
People doing the wave. And people at wrestling shows doing what chants?
Oh, God.
I cannot stand either one of them. Fucking obnoxious. I hate fans. Hate them. I hate our fans. I hate everybody.
All right, calm down. He doesn't mean it. He doesn't mean it.
I mean it. All right. I do. Okay. So anyway, that one popped, Rachel. What is with the guys wearing the suits behind the owner? Why are they wearing sunglasses with these suits on? What are these guys?
I don't know.
Like, they're clearly
are
butlers,
they waiters?
but why are they wearing
they're
sunglasses?
I guess just to make them look like bodyguards, or maybe just to make them look
bodyguards,
cooler.
Maybe it is like slash bodyguards slash your like boy toys or something.
I don't know.
I'll allow it.
I won't.
All right.
I didn't even
Rachel
notice
says
them
no.
before.
The pop-up happens to get the guy out.
Yes.
And Charlie stands up and starts clapping in the owner's box, and the owner goes, "Sit down, Charlie." So he does. So it stops him from celebrating.
But I mean, he actually wants the team to do well.
Yeah,
because
he
like
wants the team to do well.
Yeah, he's not on her side.
No, not at all.
Right.
Jake goes to Dorn's house. It's a mansion, of
Yes.
course. He's greeted by the wife, so we meet Mrs. Dorn, Suzanne Dorn.
Yes.
Dorn is watching stocks on the TV in the solarium, because of course he is.
They're rich because he's good at baseball?
They're rich because he has bigger contracts from being good at baseball, and then he has...
It just doesn't show. It just doesn't show.
Well, he's good at hitting.
Oh,
they say
right.
he's good at hitting.
It's just the hitting.
And he's good enough he's obsessed with like stocks and stuff. So if you are and you have these baseball salaries, you can just invest, and that's where you're making most of your money now, because you just started very high, right?
Yeah.
So,
all right, fine.
Dorn thinks it's going to be about finance because Taylor's like, I needed to talk to you about something. I didn't want to talk to you about it in front of the team. And Dorn's like, I can get you set up with a finance guy.
Sure.
And he's like, I liked you so much better when you were just a ball player and you weren't thinking about this. Because he confronts him and says, like, I know that you could have gotten that ball.
Yes. And he should have gotten it.
Yeah, and Dorn's like, yeah, well, why would I stick my neck out for, like, this team? Like, we're not going anywhere. Like, who cares? Taylor says, you know what? The next time you don't get in front of a ball, I'm going to cut your balls off and shove them down your throat. Is that what he says?
Is it?
I think that's what he says. Yeah.
All right, then.
So the rule
it's so weird. It's like, why did you even agree to being on this team?
Because he doesn't care. He just wants the money. He has to play to get the money, and then he can get in advertisements and all sorts of stuff.
Sure.
Ricky's getting hit on at the bar. The town's thinking that they're starting to do better now because, like, they're not too bad. You're getting from around the town. I've been there. I've watched teams where I'm like, you know what? They're getting a little better. I can see some improvement.
Okay.
Again, folks, don't do it. They're not getting better. They're actually terrible.
No, they're still terrible. They just had a good day.
The owner has turned off the hot water, broken a lot of stuff. Lou was trying to get into like one of those like stand-up tub type things to like kind of relax his body. Or, like, I think it's like a hot tub.
I think there's like a hot tub, and then there's like the ice bucket one where it's like an
ice bucket,
ice bath type thing.
And Lou's planning to get in one, so he's just walking around naked. And he goes,
just walking around naked,
butt ass naked, like full on butt ass naked.
Oh yeah.
But he says like the next time I see that bitch, I'm gonna like chew her out for. And as he's saying that, he turns he turns the corner and he's like and she says the bitch is here. And she says like maybe you want to put on a towel, and he goes, we're out of towels.
Yeah, like he's making a point. Plus, you're in the men's locker room. Like, you're kind of being inappropriate anyways.
They're all getting naked in there at some point, so they're all like, whatever. Anyway, she's the owner. She can do what she wants.
I still think it's inappropriate.
I feel like this is a famous scene. This one stands out to me in my mind as one of those scenes that I remember from my youths of watching it.
Okay.
She goes around and she kind of mocks the rest of the players as they stand naked. They don't have enough revenue to fix things, and if they were better, she'd be able to have revenue to be able to fix this stuff for them.
Yeah.
But that she doesn't have it.
Because she's just playing the part now to pretend like, I care that you guys are doing bad.
You're lucky that I can pay your salary, I think she says to him.
But while she's like saying all of this, she's like knocking on the guy's like...
She gives a nice ass slap to Serrano.
She does an ass slap. She knocks on the cup.
Oh yeah, she checks the cup, yeah. She's mocking them all. She's mocking them all.
It's so
She's
gross.
saying like, I'm like, you guys, I own you guys.
Oh yeah, she's definitely saying I own you guys, because it's like I dare you to do something, because I'll fire you because now you did something, and I can, because that's what I actually want to do, because then I can be I can bring in another bad one.
And I also wonder like, why isn't she firing any of them? We talked about that a little bit earlier, but I also kind of wonder if like the contracts are just written in a way where She wouldn't be able to, like,
just do it.
Fulfill it.
Just
Yeah,
be like,
to
oh,
do
you're
it
just
that
playing
way.
bad. I'm going to fire you. I think that's another reason she's doing what she's doing. Is like,
Right,
I'm
to try to
daring
get
you
them-
to do something because then I
Yeah.
have a reason to fire you.
Okay.
There was a weird Mel Brooks moment. I'm going to call
Yes,
it
I was about to say
Oh,
that.
okay,
It's
so-
right out of a Mel Brooks
okay.
movie. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, so I'm glad you agreed with me on this one because she calls them a bunch of pansies, and then they all do like the up yours
Up
motion,
yours. Yeah.
all at the same time, and then try to hide it when she turns around to look at them again.
Yep, very Mel Brooks.
Yes.
It felt out of tone with the rest of the
It
scene.
completely took me out for a second, but I thought I was. That's like where my brain was like, oh, Mel
Yep,
Brooks would have done
absolutely.
that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yo ho, Dark
I'm
Helmet.
I'm glad that we had the same thought on that. She gives Lou a once over, looks at his package, and leaves. She does.
She really does. She really does. He doesn't
They make
care.
He doesn't care. He's Lou Brown. They make a therapy tub using an old boat motor.
Yes.
I thought something was going to happen with it. It starts
got
steaming
very
up, but they're all like...
concerned.
I thought it was going to shoot off and just kill Willie.
Oh my god.
More people are showing up now. Lynn came to the game.
Yeah. Yeah, she
And
did.
he escalates. He's escalating! He sees her.
This is the worst.
He sees her, and like a fucking crazy man, just insane, he runs after her to find out where she lives.
Like you can tell she kind of regretted coming. Like she was going to come and like probably wanted to say something to him,
She
and then
wanted
she
to
was
watch
like,
him play.
she's like, no, I'm out. I can't do this. I don't want to do this, and she regretted it. Now, because she's got like this weird Stockholm syndrome or something, I don't know, because this guy is nuts and she's like, he's manipulating her into thinking she wants him. That's why she's there in the first place. But yeah, he runs after her.
He doesn't have his car. One of the security guys or one of the ushers says like, well, you can use the bullpen car. And the joke is that it's this like golf cart with like in the shape of a baseball with like a Indian's cap on.
Yeah. But he follows her.
He follows her.
To her home. This is her home this time.
Her apartment. Rachel. And again, the music is indicating again that this is all very romantic.
Yes. Again,
So, of
cue the
course it
Halloween
is.
music. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How?
Oh, I mean, it's the
How does
80s,
he
and she
get-
probably thought, oh, I don't have to lock the
How
door
does
right
he
away.
How does he get into the apartment?
This was so, this like made like my heart drop because it was like, oh, he could have just come in and murdered her. He was in her apartment. She went and like laid on her couch, like to think like, oh, I probably shouldn't have gone. And he
Unless this is part of some weird sex game that the two of them have agreed to, where she's into this, and that's why the door was open, because she knew he was going to
gonna
follow
her.
That's the only justification you could possibly give to this, and there is no... Folks at home, if you're into this, and you are two more consenting adults that have all agreed to this
Yeah.
in a very, very explicit manner...
Right. Yes.
Whatever.
Fine. This is creepy.
But that is not what's shown
do
here.
not do this to somebody. She's not going to be like, you did follow me.
No.
Oh. She's going to be like, what the fuck?
No, the pepper spray should have been out. The joke should have been, she says something, she freaks out, turns around and sprays him with pepper spray and he falls down the stairs.
It should have been like, ah! And then like sprays him. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dad.
She goes like, oh, you followed me here again.
Like a serial killer. And they proceed to have sex.
Why? 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 No, you wrote a woman wrong. You needed a woman to write for this woman because no, she wouldn't have.
She says she just wanted to see him play. She gives him advice about his stance. She's moving in with Tom. That's why there's a bunch of boxes and stuff around.
She didn't even hesitate, Kevin. She didn't hesitate. She is engaged. And she's like, well, we were always good at this. Get out of here.
He liked his ball player style of life. That's what she says. But those days are gone. He's trying to say, like, I've moved on too. Like, those days are gone. I'm trying to move on and become more mature. She doesn't want to believe it. So they say, like, well, this is our last hurrah then. The fuck is this? He's asking questions about the wedding.
Yes.
She's quizzing him about Moby Dick.
What the fuck?
This is not humorous. This is just
funny.
bizarre.
This isn't sexy. This isn't romantic. This isn't, like, silly romantic. This is weird.
Maybe in a different type of movie this would work, but the tone that they have set here, it doesn't work.
No.
I don't think it works.
No.
She isn't there in the morning. So, like, she left because, like, she
probably had to work.
That's just the symbolism, yeah. They're now 60 and 60. Not really that bad.
No, I mean, now they got to, like, even.
Yeah, they're 500. Yeah. And it's not as bad as she had hoped. Attendance is starting to rise now, too.
Yeah, because people are actually more interested. Like, oh, these guys are actually not too bad, is what the whole city thinks.
Yeah, Charlie's petting the dog, which I thought was nice in this
That
scene.
was kind of cute. The dog prefers him.
She takes the plane away from them.
Yes.
And now only gives them a bus to get around.
Right.
Which on some of these road trips would be, like, horrendous, I imagine.
It would just stink. I can smell it. Like, I can smell it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That smell is god-awful.
Yeah.
As someone that worked for the football team and has been in that locker room, good gravy.
Oof. I was going to say I've been on bus trips before when I was a kid. And so I know what the bus smell is like, but now that you're like adding on that athlete smell, it's even
that
worse.
man sport smell, just awful. Just awful. They are trading some of these classic books in comic book form with each other to, like, read on the bus,
which is kind of funny. That's kind of cute.
So they're playing the Yankees again. Haywood, who hit the home run off of Vaughn earlier in the movie, is up to bat again. And Doyle says, he's a convicted felon, isn't he? The color guy goes, I don't think so. And he goes, well, he should be. Which I thought was funny. Which was a callback to a joke I made earlier in the podcast about not being on the AFI Top 100 list.
That's right.
Hayward hits a home run off of Vaughn again, and they lose the game. And afterward, Charlie comes in to talk to Lou. Charlie actually goes, hey, that was a hell of a road trip. And he goes, I think you've been doing a great, great job. And Lou's like, well, we're 60 and 61, like, not that great. And he goes, with this club, it is good. Like, this is not designed to win. He knows this. Lou does not.
Mm-hmm. But he's hinting at it.
And Lou's like, I don't know, like, it's not that bad of a team. He's like, the veterans are playing together. They're actually kind of leading the team. And the young guys are starting to come along. He's like, there's a couple of potential all-stars on this team.
Right.
And
coming
Charlie
along faster than, like, he was even expecting them to. Yeah.
Yeah, because Lou is thinking, like, this is a process. Like, I'm building a team.
Right.
And Charlie can't stand, like, seeing that Lou is actually, like, optimistic about the future and thinks that he's building this team up. So he goes, like, you really believe that? And he's like, yeah. And Charlie's like, comes clean and tells the story of what Phelps' plan is to sabotage this team and move the team to Miami.
Exactly. It's all coming to a head.
Lou gathers the team and breaks it to them. They say, like, well, what happens if we don't finish last? And he says, then she's just going to get rid of you, and she's going to replace you with someone that will. And Dorn goes, even me? And he goes, yes, even you, Dorn. The room is silent and in disbelief. And Jake stands up, and he goes, well, I guess there's only one thing left to do.
And I guess there's only one thing left to do.
What's that?
Win the whole fucking thing.
Because at that point, how are you going to move the team? How are you going to get rid of these players if they win the whole thing?
Right. Yep. Exactly.
And they all get pumped up about it, and they're all excited to, like, go.
Let's go.
Do this.
Yeah. Right.
So now we've got our call to action, like you said, Rachel. I don't know
That's
what
right.
step this is in the archetype of this.
Now they have to come together to defeat.
Right, to defeat the owner.
Yes.
Here's the thing. So Brown reveals this cutout
I don't
of
like this.
Phelps.
I don't like this.
Look, I know like they're taking
she's a bitch. I don't care. It's still gross. I don't like it. This
whole
whole
thing.
thing.
The female perspective on it.
This whole thing, like women in this movie, like I'm sorry.
I guess she also violated their personal space, and it's not really her body, or it could be because she was a Vegas showgirl.
I think it's just really, it's just still gross to me.
It's a cutout of Phelps.
Yeah.
And with a thought bubble saying, "You guys stink."
Right. Which is funny enough, like, if it would have stopped there.
So his point is they need probably 32 wins to win the whole thing. Meaning, win the division. Which, Rachel, I kept going, why the hell are they trying to win this division? They can make the playoffs other ways. Not back in 1989.
Oh,
so
really?
I actually had to look this up. In baseball, there were 2 divisions.
Okay.
And if you won the division, you went to the playoffs, and you played the other division winner in the league. If you won that series, you went to the World Series, and you won the whole thing.
Wow, okay.
That was it.
Wow.
4 teams made the playoffs. That's it.
Holy
so
cow.
it's a way bigger deal to like have to win that division.
Sure.
And the Indians and the Yankees were in the East. Because I kept going, where's the Central? I'm always used to, in my lifetime, there being 3 divisions.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why are they trying to beat the Yankees? But it's because they were in the same division, and that was the only way to make the playoffs.
That's so interesting. Okay. Well, there you go.
So they needed to win 32 more games. They were 60 and 61. That's 121 games. There's 162 games in a season, which means that there's 43 more games left. Or not even. Like 40 more games left.
Mm-hmm.
They could lose only like 8 more times.
Yes, that's like
which would be an impossible feat.
Oof.
It would be outrageous
right.
to be able to do this.
Exactly.
But his point is every time that they win a game, they're going to peel a piece of clothing off of Phelps.
Revealing like her naked underneath.
Cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't think even anybody on the team cares. It's just a way to humiliate the owner.
Yes. It's a humiliation tactic, and it's just like a silly like motivation. That's just like a fun thing for them to bond over, but it's also just kind of icky to me. It's just an icky thing to me.
Sure. In modern days, yeah.
Anytime, just icky.
What could they have done to make it better for you?
Oh, I don't mind the cutout. I think it's funny. I don't think they needed to add in the we're gonna peel off her clothing, but like I could.
It's like
see
an
them...
advent calendar.
I guess it's like an advent calendar, a sexy advent calendar, if you want to think of it that way.
Now that's a hell of an idea.
Nope.
Sexy advent calendars.
No,
yeah.
I'm not. You know what?
That's a great idea right there.
Anyways, I could see them like drawing on it or like hitting it with like baseball bats or like baseballs and just like breaking it. It's the part where it's like taking off her clothing that just feels kind of yucky to me.
Sure.
That's it.
No, I cannot dispute that with you.
Yeah.
So we get another montage. This time the montage is them playing hard and training hard. Dorn is all bruised up because he's actually standing in front of the ball this time.
Yeah, he's actually doing stuff.
Serrano is warming up the bats. Hayes steals home in one of these games to win. The papers say that they've moved into 4th.
Yes.
He's got a bunch of gloves on the wall now, Hayes does.
He's nailing his gloves to the wall. This is the part that was weird to me, I think, with the gloves. I just didn't understand
I think it's
nailing them
like
to
an
the
accomplishment.
wall.
And I think that's what he's doing. He's like putting them all up. Because he is
yeah.
kind of, he is that like very flamboyant, like full, like I'm going to be the
Super
best
excited.
type of guy.
I want to look at my accomplishments. Yeah, that's fine.
Vaughn is striking out more batters now, and now they've gotten up to 2nd place in the division. And there's that American Express commercial where they're all very stilted and awkward.
Yes.
I kind of like it though because they are
but it's just
why,
so
of course they are, because like even Dorn thinks that he's like gonna be this hotshot
Dorn's
guy. He's
worse.
like the most stilted. Yeah.
Yes.
Except for Willie, who comes in
he's the
and
best.
slides in and is like the American Express card. Don't steal home without it. And yeah, shows
I
the
love
card.
that.
I like
It's
that
cute.
part. Yeah.
That's the best part.
The city starts to rally behind them now. They show people walking around Cleveland wearing Wild Things shirts, and they all have Indian caps on, and they're all kind of just rallying behind the city because it's picking up steam. And the magazines are showing that, man, this team's kind of like coming together and coming out of nowhere here. More people are at the stadium.
Yep. People
Hayes
are
has
getting
even
excited.
more gloves all over the wall now. But Taylor's knees are starting to really go. I kind of wanted... We'll get to the end of this movie.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted at the end his knees like give out.
Yes.
That last that was it.
Yeah.
Almost.
Or like right
in,
before he goes up there and he's like kind of almost hobbling a little bit.
He's hobbling a bit,
But
yeah,
he's
because
still
like he's
"But
got
this
like
is it.
nothing left.
But this
yeah.
is it.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, so during this montage, there's a part where they're in the dugout, and they do this thing where they cross their legs, and then they uncross the legs. And then
It's
they
just,
clap.
I think it's just supposed to show that they're like doing little baseball rituals. Like baseball players all have these fucking weird rituals and shit. I think they might have had like the rally caps on, like they put their hats on upside down and back inside out. To try to like do rallying, and maybe what that is. But like
that's fine.
Baseball players are all weird and superstitious and bizarre, so it was probably like something like that.
All right. It took me out again. I was like, what is this?
No, I don't disagree.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
I do like the Wild Thing shirt though that pops up.
Probably buy that one, Rachel.
I like that one.
They're only 2 games away, and they end up tied for first in the American League. Or in the Eastern Division at this point. A broadcaster wearing Indian face, mind you, or Native American face, I guess I should say, to be more accurate.
Yeah, it's
outside the locker
accurate.
room.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got a full headdress on and war paint, and he's talking about. I think he even does like an Indian, like a.
Yeah, he puts his hand to his mouth and.
And makes a screeching noise. Yeah.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff, which the crowd does at various parts of this.
It's very exciting because they're very passionate.
Show.
This is like actually a part of like the whole thing. I get it. It's just also
probably not do that anymore.
Yeah, don't do that.
probably not a good time to do that anymore.
Yeah, no.
But they break the news that they are tied with the Yankees for first in the division after all of the games have been played, which means it's October now, and there's gonna have to be, because you need to have only one winner. There's gonna be a 1-game playoff, and it's winner take all. The winner goes to the playoffs. Loser's done.
That's it. There it is. This is it.
Later on the news, they're at the hotel talking about the tiebreaker, and the players though are celebrating the fact that they've made it all the way to first place.
Yep.
And in the background, Dorn is canoodling with some lady.
Yeah, some redhead he's taking into another room.
And his wife sees it on TV and looks unpleased.
That's right.
Rachel, I figured this was one of the things where you would have issue with the entire team being okay with Dorn fraternizing against his wife.
It does feel a little weird. It does feel a little weird. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because clearly they're not in an open relationship, because Dorn's wife takes this personally.
Well, yes, she does. Yes. Right. Yeah. Scummy. It's very scummy.
So, very scummy. Lou Brown tells Vaughn that he's going to have Harris pitch and start because he's got more experience against the Yankees. And even though it's Vaughn's turn in the rotation, which again, I thought Vaughn was a reliever, so why would he have a turn in the rotation? But whatever.
Yeah, it is,
and Vaughn sucks against the Yankees.
Well, I guess because now he's not just a reliever, because he is actually good.
Oh,
so he
that's
is
true.
just like
they could put him in
yeah.
sometimes as a starter. Yeah, okay. They get a hero's welcome when they make it back after the road trip. Jake goes into his
tons of people.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Jake goes into this woman's apartment again somehow, even though it's been cleared out. I guess so that we know
that she's.
I guess
like
that she's moved in with Tom, but like, what the fuck? How did he get in?
Yeah, this man just walking.
Did she give him a key
to apartments? I don't know what he's doing. Is he jimmying the locks? Like, what is he doing?
Very strange.
It's creepy. It's
creepy. I know why they showed it, but I guess I'm not supposed to think too much about it.
No, I thought it was creepy. Again, horror movie-esque. Him just standing in this dark room, staring like, oh, she's still with him. I won't let her stay with him, though. I'll kill her. If I can't have her, no one can. Like, that's what it felt like. It was
it's
gross.
near that level, yeah. Rick is at the bar. He's lamenting the fact that he's not starting the next day. And a lady in red, who we know to be Dorn's wife, but he doesn't, approaches. He says he's not going to be good company because he's disappointed about work. And he's a ball player. And she goes, well, I don't chase ball players. And she comes on to him a bit. And he's like, well, why are you here then? And she clearly is like, well, I'm, looking for, something to, do or whatever. So she goes off with him, sleeps with him.
Yes.
She gets...
It's just the way that they're depicted. It's just the way that women are depicted in this.
Well, she's getting revenge on Dorn.
I don't know
here.
if this is the way
And-
she would have gotten revenge, but okay.
And she knows that Dorn doesn't like Vaughn.
Okay, all right.
Right?
It's
like
still weird,
that would have
though.
come up as your husband. Like you know which player your husband like doesn't like.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It just feels really weird. This like revenge sex.
Absolutely.
It's weird.
Yes,
to
Ricky
me.
Vaughn is just part of this sex game between Suzanne and Roger Dorn.
It
here.
almost kind of feels like it's happened before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because of the way Dorn
Oh, he's
reacts to
doing
that,
this
it's kind
again?
of like, yeah,
Fine.
I got it.
I'll
yeah.
sleep with another one of his like teammates.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
a
Where he's like, okay, I
toxic-ass
guess I have this
relationship.
coming. Yeah. Oh, terribly toxic. So she's getting dressed afterward, and he's like, you don't have to go home. And she's like, well, I have to get home. My husband's going to be home. And he's like, I didn't get your name. And she says, it's Suzanne Dorn, Mrs. Roger Dorn. And he gets like a terrified look on his face because he's like, oh my God. And
Yep.
she calls him a great kid.
Gross.
And as she's leaving, she says hi to Jake.
And then he's like, what?
Yeah. And then he goes over, because I like the fact that Jake is rooming with
kind of like
Willie
that,
and,
huh?
and Vaughn. Like, I
Yeah.
like that the three of them, like, just have this apartment
Wait,
together.
all three of them have the apartment together?
I assumed so. I don't know why, I just assumed that him,
'Cause
Jake, and... It feels like the three of them would all be living together.
I guess so. I mean, I definitely could see him being like, Ricky, you probably don't have anywhere to live. You were just, like, in jail. I don't know if you have a place you can stay with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
She then tells Dorn before he leaves for the game that night.
Yes.
So we have that situation brewing here before the big game.
Right.
Taylor tells Vaughn to go to the bullpen before Dorn gets there because he's like, I don't know what his wife is pulling here. I don't know what's going on with them.
Right,
But, like,
and I don't
you
know how
better
he's gonna
go to the bullpen.
respond.
Yes,
Yeah.
because, we don't need any problems tonight. And then Willie tells him that Serrano wants to sacrifice a live chicken. Taylor says, I'll think of something.
I mean, the something's actually kind of funny.
But then Jake gets a whole bucket of KFC.
Yeah, there's your chicken.
This KFC bucket, by the way, Rachel, I don't know if I was just hungry watching it or what.
Oh,
It looked delicious.
Honestly, same.
I don't know if they
For a
dialed
bucket of
this up
chicken.
because it's like advertising, like it was like just product placement. I was like, that chicken looks really good.
Yes. It's kind of funny.
We get another one of these silent moments, these like anticipation moments
Yes.
before the big game, which I liked really a lot. And then we get to the big game. They say there's 75,000 people there. In reality, they had 20,000 people in Milwaukee fill the stadium.
Wow.
So all those people are just regular people that were extras that were
Holy
like just
cow.
told like cheer loudly, we're going to do some pitches here, like react accordingly and all
That's
that kind of stuff.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my God.
they really filled the stadium, which I appreciate because nowadays you would just have CGI'd a bunch of fucking audience members and
Oh, yeah,
called
sure.
it a day. And in the behind the scenes stuff, they said that I can't remember which one of the players or which one of the actors said this, but they said like they got chills running out there because
Oh,
that was
yeah.
there were really 20,000 people like doing the cheering for them.
I could see that making you way more nervous than
Yeah. And they went to Jaeger, the ball player that consulted, and he was like, man, that was crazy. And Jaeger was like, that's what it's like every day.
He's like,
So-
yeah, that's the
So
feeling.
he was like, yeah,
'Cause,
like it's...
because yeah, they get recorded. You know, they're celebrities, right?
Yeah.
They're actors. So you'd think they'd be slightly used to it, but like you think about it, it's like no, they don't do it live. They
Yeah.
they're recording in front of like so many people on the set. It's different.
It reminds me of, not to go back to my favorite topic of professional wrestling, but it reminds me of why like these guys have a hard time hanging it up. And ball players have a hard time hanging it up too because they don't know what else they would do. But part of it has to be that rush of having the crowd
Yes, that energy
behind
that you
what you're
feel.
doing.
Yeah.
If I went to work every day, if I fucking plugged into this
Oh my
podcast every
God.
time and I had 20,000 people
Going,
cheering for the
"Yeah,
fact that the fucking
Kevin!
Colonel Bogey March
Woo!
started, like, yeah, you wouldn't
DD.
stop.
I stream. I do have some people at my
Yeah,
stream.
that's true. You do,
I
yeah.
kind of get it a little bit.
Harris does. Did you notice that he has Jobu as he's
Yes.
doing warm ups? Yeah.
Yes,
So
he's like talking
using
to
Jobu.
him.
Yeah. Euchre goes through all of this stuff to run down the importance of this game, and then he swings it to the color man. He goes, anything to add? And he goes, no. And he goes, that's why he's the best color man in the game.
You know, it's kind of funny because that's how I usually am whenever you go, do you have anything to add before we start? No.
It was very reflective of that, yes. The TP fans are now surrounded by people. I like that they still get to have their spot, though.
Yeah, it is kind of nice. I wonder if they, like, have it reserved for them type of thing.
Yeah, that's their season tickets, for sure.
It's just
Phelps is
funny.
Phelps is in all black, because I thought she was, like, mourning the fact that, like, her team, like, her plan didn't work.
Good. That's a good way to interpret it. I like that. Like the mourning outfit.
Harris is helped out by good defense all game. He doesn't have the juice to be able to, like, get this done, so, like, he has to rely on some good defense and some, like, crazy pitches. Like, at different points during this movie, Euchre calls it, like, oh, the YK, or the KY ball, or, like, the Vaseline pitch. Like, he can tell, like,
yes,
there's probably something on the ball, the way that it comes out. Serrano strikes out a couple of times. Hayes steals a home run. We get to the top of the 7th. I like this whole part, Rachel.
The sequence was actually not too bad.
Is very good. I love this game part here.
They made it exciting.
Yeah.
But that's because it's a movie.
Right. It's 0-0 in the top of the 7th. Harris is in trouble. He's losing steam, and he gives up a 2-run home run. So the first points go to the Yankees. Phelps goes, that ought to shut these people up. So it's 2-0. We go to the bottom of the 7th.
Oof.
Taylor hits into a ground out, and he's hobbling. He, like, comes up limp. So
yes.
This is where you see it. Like, he's, like, strained. So here comes Dorn. There's 2 men out. He hits a single to left field. One thing I will say about this whole thing, too, Rachel, in this sequence, it's all narrated by Bob Uecker as Harry Doyle.
Right.
He also makes it very good and exciting.
Yes,
he's telling you exactly what you need to know. He's still doing it in the form of a announcer,
right?
But he's doing it in a cinematic way. It's all very, very well done. This whole end game here.
Right.
Here comes Serrano, and the crowd is on their feet. They chant his name. They're chanting Pedro, Pedro. It would have been a cold fall night here because it's October, but they had to shoot this in the summer. So, like, all of the extras, all the crowd is wearing shorts and stuff because it would have been warm. But all the players are wearing, like, fall gear because they all have, like, this extra sleeves and stuff on.
Yeah.
He goes 0-2. He swings and misses. And then he talks to himself, and he goes over and he says, you know what, Jobu, I've stuck up for you. I've tried to, like, you know, and then he goes, but you don't let me hit. So he's like, fuck you, Jobu. I do it myself.
Gonna do it for me. Yeah.
He has a Thanos moment.
He had a good moment, though.
You like this part, Rachel?
I liked that he kind of got, like, built up a little bit for that one, you know?
He makes contact with the curve finally. He hits the home run, ties the game at 2.
Because he did it for him.
That's right. That's the lesson. According to the behind the scenes, he actually hit a couple of home runs during the filming.
Yeah.
And one of them, he was excited that he actually hit the home run like the first time, and he forgot to throw the bat. So him running with the bat is real, according to them behind the scenes.
That's funny.
So they kept it in the movie because they thought it was like a very... It felt in character.
Yes, that he got really
wouldn't
excited.
Throw the bat. Yeah. Charlie applauds them tying the game up. Phelps tries to do the thing again of, like, sit down, Charlie, and Charlie raspberries her. That's the term, right? When you go that...
Yeah, that's a raspberry.
Yeah, so he raspberries back at her and continues to clap. So even Charlie's like, fuck it. Because at this point, Charlie probably is like, if she's going to fire all them, she's firing me too.
Right.
So, like, what do I care?
He'd be leaving too.
Serrano gets a curtain call from the crowd, which was nice to see. A curtain call in baseball, Rachel, is when you go back to the dugout and the crowd just keeps cheering because of you. So he goes back out to, like, wave the hat around again. Thank you.
That's fun.
We go back to the 9th inning now. So now we're in the 9th inning. We're tied at 2. Harris gives up a standing double. So now there's guys at 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs in the 9th. And Brown says, call up Vaughn. So Vaughn's supposed to start warming up in the bullpen.
Yes.
Harris gives up a walk. So now the bases are loaded with 2 outs.
Oof.
And the game is tied.
Yep.
And they pull Harris. I like this little moment here of, like, I don't have anything left, Skip. but I can probably get one more guy for you. And Brown's like, no, sit down. Like, you pitched a good game.
Yes.
You made it to the ninth fucking inning.
It wasn't like a mean way of like, no, you're out. You're playing like ass. It's like, no, you're doing good, but you can go sit down now. Go relax.
You've done your job. Like, you did as much as you could possibly do.
I'm not going to put this on your shoulders.
Yeah. This whole thing is the movie. Really.
Yeah.
Because he says, like, you sure you want Vaughn? And he's like, I got a hunch he's due. So, Rachel, this really is the movie. This is the most iconic part of this movie, outside of the Just a Bit Outside. It is the Wild Thing entering. It's Charlie Sheen entering nervously. The crowd is going nuts.
And he looks like a nerd. Great.
I love the glasses, though, with the little skull.
I love the glasses.
The crowd is going nuts. They're singing the song. They're singing Wild Thing. This is Wild Thing by X. So it is it's a very I love this version of Wild Thing.
You make my heart sing. That one.
It's way faster than the original Wild Thing. I love it. It's great for an intro music. It's so great, in fact, that one of your favorite wrestlers continues to use it to this day. Mox uses this as his entrance.
Does he really? I love that.
This is what he does when he enters. And of course, because it's Mox, he doesn't enter through the curtain. He has to enter through the crowd. While Wild Thing plays and the crowd goes nuts singing Wild Thing.
That's fun.
So
I love that.
I love this scene. I love this moment.
Yes.
It is, according to the director and the producers, they did not, they asked the people to, like, sing the song. Any of the shots in the crowd, though, are the people just improvising what to do. So them singing it, the people and the girls that are dancing on the dugout.
Yeah.
They were like, we didn't tell them to do that. They just figured out that would be something to do.
Yes.
So, like, all of it is just, it's perfect. This is a perfect scene.
And I do love that, and the owner goes, I hate this song.
I hate this fucking song. Yeah.
Just adds all of it to it.
Apparently, also, this was not common practice for a reliever to have their own walk-in music and, like,
I wouldn't think
the bravado.
So.
This movie made that a thing.
Oh, that's
so,
funny.
Like, now it's not uncommon for, like, closers to have the doom is coming music, because, like, here I come to, like, save the day kind of thing.
That's funny. I like it. That's actually kind of a fun thing that they started.
You can see the arc now for Ricky Vaughn. He was just this pissant thief, thug,
right?
Who now he's being embraced by this town as, like, their hero.
Right. It's actually kind of cool.
I wish that towns in real life would do this with more than just athletes, but that's typically what happens. Brown tells him on the mound, you don't necessarily hear it. It's, like, underscored because of the fact that Vaughn just keeps looking over at Dorn because he's like, he thinks he's in hot shit.
Yes.
And Brown is telling him, this guy likes your fastball. He hits off of your fastball because it's Hayward again. It's the big guy. That's like the American League Triple Crown winner.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't give him the fastball. Throw a curveball. Throw it away because he won't be expecting it.
Exactly.
And he's like, did you hear me, Rick? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. And then Jake has a good line here where he says, this guy's the out you've been waiting for your whole life. So here we go. Dorn comes up to Vaughn. He just walks
Another one of these. Like, this just doesn't
over.
Seem like a good idea. Like, everybody should be like, what the hell's happening?
I think they are. And Taylor's like, ah, shit.
Because it's not normal.
You think a confrontation's about to happen. But, and this kind of enforces our thought, Rachel, that this is just some weird sex game between the Dorns here.
It's
like Vaughn is just caught in this, like,
so
like I want Ricky to be like some hunk of meat or something here. Like, what are you people doing?
I don't know.
Because you think he's gonna say something, and he goes, I've only got one thing to say to you. Strike this motherfucker out.
Right.
Which shows Dorn's growth, I think, too. In
as
the
like
fact
a
that,
team player, I guess.
He didn't care, and now he's being like a team player. Yeah.
But where the hell did that ever come from?
He's putting the team above himself.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess because of Jake, what Jake told him. But yes, it would have been nice to see a little bit more progressive. Yeah. Despite wanting to throw breaking balls, that's the signals that he's giving there with, like, the threes and like that. He's like, okay. And then he gives, like, the number 1,
which is
a fastball. So, and Vaughn insists on it. So he does it. I like that old, let's see what the kid feels about the old number 1.
Right.
This is where Brown even concedes. So this is why you go back to Brown. He goes, don't forget about the curveball, Ricky. Just give him the heater.
Yes.
Because like he's even saying like, you know what? Forget it. Give him the heater. You figured it out. You figured out how to get it past this guy.
Yeah, I think it's partly that, and I'm also wondering if the guy is expecting him to do something different because he knows.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So then when he's doing it, he's like, "Darn it, he did it the same thing, but I was expecting the other."
Well, that's what
of
baseball
off,
all is,
right?
Like baseball is all about anticipation. You pretty much against anybody that knows how to pitch like fast against you, you have to have in your head, are you going to swing or not?
Yes.
Before he even releases the ball.
Right.
Because if you don't have it in your head, the ball's already past you.
Yep.
He gets a swing, strike 2 on a high fastball. One more and he strikes him out. High inside. We get slow motion here on this one. And Vaughn gets out of the inning. So now we're in the bottom of the 9th, tied at 2. Bobby needs some Jack here. So not even Harry is drinking the Jack Daniels. Bobby needs some after all of that.
Because it's just so exciting.
Yeah. One of the no-named guys on the team flies out. Tomlinson, we hear. Just one of the other, like, players that never comes up.
Yeah, one of the side players.
And they bring out the Duke, who is the relief pitcher on the Yankees. He threw at his own kid at a father-son game because he's like, he leads the league in saves and he leads the league in this and that. And he's like, he even leads the league in hit batters or something like that. Hayes comes in, he gets a little chopper. And he outruns it, so he gets on base. So now the go-ahead run is aboard.
Yes.
And here comes Taylor. And they're giving him signals back and forth. And like we said, we kind of wish that they would have established the signals and that they would have gotten better at the signals
just
and stuff.
Much signaling happening, and I just feel like out of the loop all of a sudden. I'm just like,
well, that's an old baseball joke, right? Like you can remember in Naked Gun, they're like giving signals
that's
with
exactly what
semaphore
I was thinking about.
and
yes,
stuff.
It just increasingly gets weirder and weirder. Absolutely.
Taylor has never hit against the Duke. He's 0 for 12 or something around that. Hayes takes a big lead. He gets back because the pitcher throws to first, but he is able to get back. And then the pitcher throws, and Hayes goes and takes second. So he steals second base. I think that's in slow motion, too. So now Hayes gets to second. So now you're in scoring position. Because if you get to second base, in theory, if a ball gets farther enough out, if you're a fast enough guy, you can make it from second to home on a hit.
Sure.
And now Taylor comes up with an idea and signals to the dugout.
Yep.
And Lugu has a Vince McMahon moment because he goes, that's a hell of an idea.
Does.
So he signals something to the third base coach, and then the third base coach, I think, lets Hayes know.
I think so.
What's going to happen. Yeah.
Yes.
And then this is a callback to earlier when he was doing it in the empty stadium.
Right.
He calls his shot, which is the old Babe Ruth thing, Rachel. So have you ever seen or heard the thing about calling the shot?
I've heard about the calling the shot, and I think I've seen like a picture of him doing it or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the legend is that Babe Ruth came up to bat and he pointed at the stands like he was going to hit a home run, and then he did.
Right.
I think there's some dispute about it. Some people think he was pointing at the pitcher because the pitcher like hit him earlier in the game.
So he's like calling him out
like,
type of thing.
Calling out the pitcher, and then he happened to hit a home run. But...
And so he's like, "Yeah, I was doing that for the home run."
Yeah, but the legend is that he called his shot.
Sure.
And like said, I'm going to hit it into the stands, and then he did.
Yeah.
Duke gives him some sweet chin music here, throwing high at him so that Taylor has to get out of the way, which is what you would do if somebody was being a punk and calling their shot.
Exactly.
But then he calls it again, and he points again, and the crowd goes even fucking crazier because, like, holy shit, nobody's done this before in, 60 years or whatever. It was all a ruse.
All of it was a ruse.
Because what does he actually do, Rachel?
He bunts it.
Yep. And
he does a little bit of a tappy tap to the ball.
And because of the fact that he was calling his shot, they
all went further back.
Infielders would have gone further back, yeah.
Yeah, and been ready to run back.
Mm-hmm. So none of them were in
kind
position.
of like hesitating to go run forward now,
right,
to get the ball.
The easiest thing to do with 2 outs is to get Taylor out. Because he's slow, you can throw it to first easier than you could wait to try to pick off Hayes.
Yes.
So the guy grabs it, throws it to first. Taylor, even on his bad knees, in slow motion, outruns the pitch.
Yes.
And so he's
You
safe.
can kind of see that he's like straining to do it too.
Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
like, I have to do this. This is it. This is the last thing I'm ever gonna do in baseball right here.
Right. Yeah, like this is it. Yeah.
Because like on that hit, when he touches that base, all I can think is he tore that.
Which I think would have made it better, right? Like if he like barely could stand at the end of this movie.
Oh my god, yes. That
He's like
meniscus
limping,
is
like
gone.
you said. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The meniscus is gone.
Look, I've had that pain. I know what that feels like.
You don't know what pain is.
Knee pain sucks.
I know. I hear you. Meanwhile, because of this, Hayes is running to home. They knew that they would go to first, so like Hayes is running all the way to home. He outruns it again in slow motion. He is safe, and the Indians win. And the do 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 music starts. Euchre is going nuts. The Indians win it. The Indians win it. My God, the Indians! He's perfect. He's just, he's so good at doing it.
Yeah, it's very
The team
good.
celebrates. Charlie celebrates. He's high-fiving the weird
Butler
bodyguard
men.
guys. Yeah.
The owner
Phelps
just
is
looks
in
blank.
disbelief.
She's just blank at that point. Like, ugh, I hate
Yeah.
everything.
The crowd rushes the field. The janitor from Scrubs hugs a punk, which I wish that would have been established. Cause
Yeah, that-
cause,
where
like,
was that?
They're watching it. They're watching it at like some bar. Yeah.
Yeah, none
It's
of that was
supposed to be, like-
established. It was so awkward.
It would have been better if they were showing people not even interested in baseball getting more interested in baseball.
Yes.
Then that would have made sense.
Yes.
Serrano and Harris hug, understand each other now. Dorn punches Ricky, and then hugs him and picks him back up.
Yep.
Again, some weird sex
Some
game
weird
going on there.
Game. Yep. Most definitely.
Lou Brown congratulates Taylor and Hayes, and then Taylor sees Lynn in the stands. And what does she show?
A ringless
This wonderful
finger.
message. Yeah. So she broke
Yeah.
up with Tom.
Don't ever do
She wants
that.
to be with Taylor.
Toxic. Gross.
Just, I give him 6 months. I give him 6 months.
You give him that long? Oof.
Well, because until the start of the next season.
Yeah, but he's not going to be playing anymore.
Oh, right, yeah.
He's totally done. There's no way he's doing another season. Maybe he'll help, but yeah, they're kissing and the music and everything's exciting.
He brings her out to the field. He hoists her up on his shoulders, and we get a freeze frame ending with all of them celebrating. And that is the end of the movie. The romantic song takes us to the credits. Doesn't completely fit. It kind of works. I appreciate the in and out, though. I appreciate there's no epilogue.
Yeah.
There's no extra. It's just
kind of
they
ends
won
at
the
the
big
win.
game. They won the division. They won the pennant. And we're done.
Yeah.
I will say this, Rachel.
Okay.
I did not realize this. I've seen this in a couple of spots, and this was also in the LA Times. There was an alternate ending.
Oh, okay, yes, because you said you looked at this earlier. Yes,
I was
need
disgusted
to know.
upon reading
You were
this.
disgusted, and I want to be too. Tell me more.
In the original script, Lou Brown confronts Phelps right before the huge playoff game against the Yankees. Calmly, she reveals that she secretly cares about the club and hoped that they would win all along. And if you tell anybody about this, I'll fire you.
No.
So it was all a ruse in that version.
It's
The scene
interesting
was
because that is what I kind of thought she was doing at the beginning, so it's kind of funny that that's literally where my brain was.
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, she's just
Like,
like,
well, 'cause,
really,
like, how
she's
could she have
trying her best to
Right.
like.
And the way that it is perfect where this has not happened.
Oh, God,
She
no.
was trying to move the team.
She should be the
It's
villain.
that she was not overlooking the flaws. She was only looking at their flaws.
Yes, she didn't even look at any of their strengths.
Right. And somebody like Lou Brown finds their strengths. She's not looking that way.
Right.
So she underestimated all of them.
Exactly.
That's the lesson here.
Right.
Is that she underestimated all their
Potential.
strengths and all their potential and all of them coming together. That's way better.
Oh, 100% better. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Than
and, like,
having this person be like that. That's terrible.
No.
So
they can't backtrack on being the villain. No.
They actually tried this with test audiences, and test audiences hated it.
I would have too. I'd be like, really? This is what you guys decided to end with?
which forced them to reshoot part of it because there apparently was footage of her cheering them on at the end of the game.
Oh,
but then
of
they changed it so that she was sneering at it. They added in the "I hate this fucking song."
Part of me wondered if that
so
was
much
improvised, but I did like that.
So much better. Here's her original dialogue, according to the LA Times. "We were broke. We couldn't afford anything better. Donald left the team nearly bankrupt. If we'd had another losing season, I would have had to sell the team. I knew we couldn't win with the team we had, so I decided to bring in new players and see how they do with the proper motivation. There was never an offer from Miami. I made it all up. I personally scouted every player except for Hayes. They all had flaws which concealed their real talent, or I wouldn't have been able to get them. But if anybody could straighten them out, you could. And if you tell any of them this, I'll fire you." And then she shakes her head.
It's not even, funny.
He shakes his head in disbelief, and she goes, "I love this team, Lou. Go get him tonight." Would not have worked. Would not have worked. Terrible.
It's not funny. It's not, clever. It's bland at best.
Yeah. That's not the end of the movie. The real end of the movie is the villain is defeated. Phelps was wrong about all of them.
Yep.
And they won the pennant.
That's right.
Okay. This is going to be a very interesting section here. I truly did not know what my answer was going to be coming into tonight. I still don't know.
Okay.
Rachel, we have come to that time of the show where I will kick it off to you. And I will ask you, does Major League have shelf life?
Okay. All right. Does Major League have shelf life? So, after our lovely discussion, after watching...
very thoughtful consideration.
Oh, very, very thoughtful consideration. So, there are little bits that I enjoyed, as we've discussed, and I liked, and I liked how that end sequence was really good. Things of that nature. The romance stuff, remove it. Take it out. It shouldn't even be there. I don't know what's the point of it. There's just some weird stuff that just kind of made me feel like, no, I don't want that. I wish it wasn't there. For me,
for you
Major
personally.
League, yes, for me personally,
yeah, which
Major
is the
League
truth.
is not on the shelf.
Okay,
it's a fine baseball movie. It's a fine sports movie. I like the dry humor. Again, some of these icky stuff. I don't like baseball, so I wasn't like, yeah, I am so into this. And it's just kind of felt like it was there for me. So I'm going to say it's not on the shelf.
Okay.
Too much ick.
Too much ick for Rachel.
Yeah.
That could be a shirt. Too much ick. Here's where I stand on this, because I'm not a baseball fan either. Remove the stalking scenes. The
Yes.
baseball scenes are very good.
They are good.
That whole last game against the Yankees is so good.
It is.
I kind of wish that was just the whole movie. And you could expand on some of these montages and show more of these bits that we've been talking about.
Yes.
The growth in these characters, and they are likable, even the stalker, they're all likable characters. I could see the 4K is coming out, by the way.
Oh my god, of course.
I think around the date that this episode is dropped. It might already be out.
Weirder. That is
around
so
the date that
weird.
this episode dropped.
Why does this keep happening?
And it's the 35th anniversary. That's also
We've
why.
booked so many things in advance. I didn't do that on purpose. We didn't choose this because of that. It just
not at all.
happened.
Just
what
so
the heck?
happened. If it was in a deep discount bin, I might pick this one up.
Oh, a deep discount bin. Okay.
To put it on my shelf. And because it's a deep discount bin, that's my thought. I'm not going to go out and buy the 4K. I love some of these scenes. I absolutely love Bob Uecker as Harry Doyle. Just a Bit Outside to me is an iconic line. And seeing the Ricky Vaughn come out to Wild Thing is beautiful.
That was great.
And yes, Mock's coming out to Wild Thing now, and that it's a song for me now, right? It's a moment. It's something that endures. That endures for me, that scene. So there are definitely a lot of bits and pieces of this that I really like. Because it's the discount bin for me, I think that means it's a box.
Oh,
I don't think I can
box.
put it. I don't think I put it in the shelf because of that. Like I can't.
I'd say if it's on TV, watch it. You know,
absolutely.
Sure, watch it. I'd say watch it. Watch it with knowing it's old. But yeah, so you're gonna put it in the box.
All the sports stuff, that climax, that last game, has enough shelf life for me that, while I don't think I'd go out of my way to put this on my shelf, if I saw it, or if someone sent it to us, it would have a place in my collection for sure. I reserve the right before the episode drops to change my mind,
totally
or change my mind at any point in the future.
Fair enough.
But I think right now I'm leaning towards box. Because some of it doesn't quite connect. I always remember as a kid, or even as growing up, thinking like, this has a saggy middle. The beginning when they're training for baseball is really, really good. The ending after they get good and they go to do the baseball is really, really good, but the middle kind of sags. What I think I was actually remembering is all the romance stuff.
It all saggy. It's so saggy. It's so gross. It ruined it for me. It's not even in a box because of all of that. Because of all of that, it can't even be in my box.
Okay, because I was going to say, without all of that, if it was just the baseball stuff,
it would be better. Oh my God,
it probably would have shelf life. It would
so
be
much
just
better
on the shelf, like solid.
Yeah, it's not solid because of it.
Unlike X-Men, where I even said, like, it took me, I had a split second thought of, is it in the box? This is more the opposite, which I was crazy. It has shelf life. But for, like, this, it's kind of like, but I'm going to put it in the box for now. Is there a way that this movie could have shelf life with you, Rachel? Is it if the romance was taken out? Yeah.
Oh.
I'm just curious.
Oh, boy. That's a heavy question, because...
Well, because I do want, once we get into future volumes, if we ever would go back and say, re-examine something that does not make the shelf, what could make it?
It's fine. I think you could make it into the box. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I would put it on the shelf. Like, I watched it. I saw it.
Yeah.
Am I going to watch it again? Probably not.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
That's where I'm going to go with that one.
With that criteria, I think that makes it, to your point, I don't know if I would do a lot of rewatching. It would be, I want to watch the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because, am I gonna rewatch this? Is this something that has the shelf life?
Then I'll be like, oh, I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood for Major League.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm glad that we talked that one out, because as we've said in the past, the box is a crutch for sure. We've used that box
totally
as a crutch.
Is. It was my fault that the box is alive and there anyways, but I feel like it's necessary sometimes.
You need to have a little bit of something in between where it's like, yeah, like if I found it, I'd have it. But to your point, it's definitely not on the shelf because of the fact that like there's only parts of this that I want versus the whole thing. Yeah. And I would probably just go to YouTube and I can download those scenes clips. And and I have it. That was Major League, directed by David Ward from 1989. Cross it off the list. It's sort of in the box.
It's not on the shelf.
I have been Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And we'll be back next time, sports fans, for another exciting episode of Shelf Life here at Shelf Life.
Here at Shelf Life. Like the college tour thing. Josh's White House.
Look at this fucking guy.